more reasonable. Are we good? We're good. Full beans.
So
All right, so it is 6:04. I will call this Park and Recreation Committee meeting to order. First item up is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm just taking some quick notes. Okay, next is looking for approval on the consent agenda from our February 19th, 2025 Park and Recreation Committee meeting.
Motion to approve consent agenda from February 19th, 2025.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next is public comments. We will be taking public comments for any items that are not on the agenda, limiting it to 5 minutes per person. If you would like to say anything, please step forward to the microphone and state your name so that we can record it and let us know. All right, no public comments.
Really quick cut off. Up to it.
You get nothing now. All right, next is items for action. Wow, what is with you tonight, Dan?
Right. That's well empty from your day.
You are pretty good looking one too. Items for discussion and or action. We're gonna review the parks and open space planning survey and listening session with the results. So do you want to start and I can jump in? I know you weren't there, but
Sure, and actually I was gonna let our guest here maybe just go over the survey, just very high level, what were like the themes that came out. And then that maybe Chairperson Bartz could talk about what you learned from listening session. So what you got?
Great. My name is Paul Robeck. I work for UW Madison's Division of Extension Ozaki County. And I was asked by Chris to help with the public participation in the park open space planning process. So signed the survey, and I also designed a listening session, but unfortunately I wasn't able to attend because of illness. So yeah, came down with a respiratory infection that week, and it was very contagious, so glad I wasn't there. And I'm no longer contagious, but I still have the problem. So I'll go over the survey results and sure you can update us on the listening session. So we had 91 responses, unique responses, so that's nice. I think our goal was hopefully we were hoping for 100, we're shooting for 100, so we got pretty darn close. And the last time a similar survey was done, there was only 10 responses, so we did a lot better than 10. Starting off the first page, you can see as far as how frequently people use the parks. Pretty frequently, you know, 30% roughly said 30 weekly, 18% said monthly, 32% said 3 times a year. So let's say more than a third is using it pretty regularly, and a third not very much. We asked which parks people mostly frequent, so you can see Fireman's Park and Reef Cross Park. For the highest users, and Stony Creek and Veterans were the lowest of the responses. We asked what park features people use. I thought it was interesting that park pathways came up so high, as well as playground. And I'm not as surprised with playground benefit of the deep routes. Lower responses for basketball courts and park shelters. Question 5 on the bottom of page 3, we asked people to rank the facilities on a sliding scale from 1 being poor to 5 being excellent. So there we have some statistics of The minimum score, some people put 0, some people gave the high score of 5. And so really look at the mean or the average there. The closer those numbers are to 5, the closer you are to excellent, obviously. So the higher scoring ones are back to be scored high. People are using them and they think they're in good shape. Open space are high as well as soccer fields. The lower scores were playground equipment and basketball. None of them scored 4. We asked about amenities people like. Farmers market. It's the top one, followed by beer garden. Too surprising. Lower scoring ones, skateboarding facilities and tennis courts. We also had another category, so people responded there. A couple of responses, dog parks and better rental shelters. The theme of updating playground equipment. The scene, I think, throughout the survey. The separation of uses, I think it sounds like there's an overlap between soccer field and baseball diamonds. So separating that out more. Possibly anything on the baseball diamonds.
Tournaments, yeah.
We asked specifically about dog park with people who use it. 55.6% said no. About a quarter said maybe, and 20% said yes. Then we asked the people that responded yes, if they would get a small annual permit, and the overwhelmingly 72% said yes, they would. The rest said maybe. Other things, right? So nobody said no. Was that one of the problem? We asked how many children people have in their home. Most of the people that responded to the survey have kids, only 40%. That's where they didn't have kids. We asked them if they had kids, would they use the summer rec program? 41.5% said no. I'm sure, yes. And we asked people that said yes, would they pay a small annual fee? Overwhelmingly, they responded yes to that. They ended yes. 22. Question 12. People like the idea of expanding the current bike and purpose trail from Marine Cross Park to Fireman's Park. 70% said yes. We asked about a couple of events that occurred, the Tuesday Tunes. Most people have never attended it. Followed by attended once, 2 people have gone times. Attending moving in the parks. Most have never attended, almost 3 children responded to the survey.
Which would make sense if most of the people that responded to the survey don't have kids. So,
Well, 41% don't have kids, so roughly 59% do have kids. Do you have any concerns about safety? More than 3/4 said no. 23% said yes. And if yes, share your concerns. Concerns that I identified on that include unsafe playground equipment. There was several kinds that highlighted the playground equipment was old, rotted, busted, unsafe. Particularly at Fireman's Park and Swing Park. Lack of lighting was mentioned several times, especially at Freedom Park. Maintenance and upgrades needed for several parks. Not just the playground equipment, but better facilities and structure. Safety concerns was mentioned a few times. I know people meetings happening in parking lots. There's paths that are out of sight. They are the soccer fields with baseball diamonds. Then some accessibility concerns regarding the playground equipment. And that there's no, someone mentioned that there's no suitable parks for families and certainly.
Well, it's good to see something. Like if I look at some of these responses about lighting and Freedom Park and things like that, I think a lot of that is just the fact that the lights haven't been turned back on since when we had the.
And I had,
thing.
regarding the lights, I had reached out to Administrator Jenkins about possibly looking at adding some lights to the structure that would
Yeah.
point more towards the actual playground equipment.
Mhm.
I don't know if our DPW director was able to look into that at all and.
No, we don't have a quote yet, but yes, he's looking into that, because that's an easy enough thing that we can just do with it.
Right, yeah, those aren't so bad. So I think, I mean, I'm glad to hear that people are talking about the lighting stuff and the facilities are there. We might as well do it. Yeah. It's it's interesting, for sure.
Last question, or questions, yeah. I'd like to hear about upcoming park events, social media. What the respondents. And then some demographics who responded to the survey. 34.4% have been living in the village for over 20 years, but 40% have lived in the village 10 years or less, so you combine those first two categories. So I think it was pretty well spread out, right? Of how long people would observe responded to the survey, it wasn't too heavy. If you go at 10 years or less, 10 to 20 years, 20 years or more.
And we even had people that didn't live in the village respond. Hopefully they're people from the town.
Oh, there's 2 of the 5 right there.
Not like somebody from Montana's responding to our perk survey, but.
Oh, deal?
Yeah, if that number came out higher, I would have gone through and weighted things or pulled that data out, had it separately. I thought with 500, it's pretty small. Yeah, about 25, 30. It's okay. Well, what are the non-residents saying versus the residents would be more an interesting comparison.
I find it interesting the amount of, I'm sorry, I'm skipping right ahead to the age groups.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, it's just interesting to me that nobody under the age of 24 responded,
Yeah.
you know, so. It's very interesting to me, but then everybody, or the majority of people were roughly, middle age or working families type thing.
You have to think of the age of social media and the age of Facebook, right? Because that's where we do a lot of our advertising. You're 25 and under are not our Facebook people.
Yeah, that's true.
They're more Instagram and anything else. Yeah.
They're getting away from TikTok now too. Oh, yeah. And
Uh,
that's my kids' age group and they are Insta, and that's about it. And there's something else that they're doing.
Yeah.
Do you have demographics of like the population of the village?
Yes.
Do we skew older as a,
Absolutely not. Our average age is 35,
okay,
which is something we always talk about because it's just so interesting, right? That you wouldn't think that, right?
We
The
kinda-
average age is a new family coming in.
Yeah, we giggle about it because we think that we're an older community, right? And everybody's got neighbors that are retired or whatever the case is, but there's so many new families that.
Yeah.
Have moved in over the years, over the last 10 years that.
Right.
Yeah, so I think. Just summarizing, stirring the themes, I think. The playground equipment comes up quite a bit. The lighting, some safety. Some overall maintenance. There was a few comments in there of. Not needing to acquire more parks, just invest in parks that you.
Mhm. So that leads into kind of the conversations that we've had. We went through the survey results with the people that came to the meeting, talked through all of them and kind of opened it up to a forum of, all right, what do you guys think? What do you want to see? What don't you want to see? What works? What doesn't work? One of the themes that we found along with the playground equipment is playground equipment that's inclusive to everybody. Not only, ADA compliant and accessible to handicapped children, more playground equipment that's going to keep the older kids involved as well. So a lot of people have families that have a wide variety of kids age. So they go with their 3-year-old, but they want their 10 and 11-year-old to be occupied as well. So looking at possibly adding additional equipment that would be inclusive. Adding more bathrooms at the parks where there are none, like Freedom Park, was a good one. There was a lot of, shouldn't say a lot, there was, discussion about our open spaces of the walking paths and the disc golf course, and our nature parks. Meaning like Stony Creek could really be turned into a nature park if we would tear down the equipment, maybe clean up the creek a little bit there and make it into like a mud kitchen park kind of deal. To kind of, I mean, not for me, I don't care. Some kids would love it. They go, yes, they go in.
garden.
Oh, yeah, that.
They go and, play in the mud and catch frogs and salamanders and,
have that.
all of that stuff, but, so things along those lines of, bringing in some new ideas. We talked a lot about, different types of equipment. But the major theme of that was better investment in the equipment that we have and being more inclusive of all people. We talked about the number of parks that we have. So we've got Children's Park that half the people that were there did not know Children's Park existed. There was talk about, park possibly up in Emerald Hills area. So we have one we have a park on the south side of Main Street. We have a park on the north side of Main Street. Though we do have technically Freedom Park is on the north side of Main Street, but not necessarily making new parks like Paul said, but reinvesting into what we have. Does it make sense to take our focus and really focus on 2 or 3 parks that we have in the village? Maybe take down Freedom or Children's Park and make it a different space, focus on Freedom and Fireman's and possibly Stony Creek or, Veterans Park or whatever. One of the other concerns that there was is being able to cross the Main Street. There was talk about, and I forget, somebody had mentioned that they've seen it in other communities like Grafton, where it's like a yellow flashing sign that would be on the Main Street and you can walk up and press a button like a crosswalk almost, that allows you to walk, but it would flash yellow, letting you know there's pedestrians there. Would that be a simple thing to add to our Main Street, maybe in 2 sections, one by Milwaukee Street where the traffic is quite heavy to get to Fireman's Park, and then maybe even one up at the bottom of the hill where you turn to go to Murray Krause and Oak Park. That's probably one of the more dangerous intersections on the main road, only because you're coming down the hill. So is that something that we'd want to look into with our DPW crew to see if we can get something like that installed to help the children cross the road a little bit safer? That's a big concern for a lot of parents that are letting their kids, my daughter's 12 or 11. I don't love that she crosses the Main Street and I make her cross in front of her aunt's house because she's got a Ring camera. So if she gets hit by a car, at least got video evidence of what happened. But trying to make it a little bit safer for our kids to be able to leave one area of the village to go to another and, cruise around all the fire parks on their bikes. And how do we go about making that just a little bit safer for them? So, another disc golf course thing was possibly adding additional benches at all the disc golf course holes. How do we increase the usage of the disc golf course? It's a beautiful area and it's a great course. But how do we enhance it and make it better? Yeah, more equipment. I think that's,
Yeah, I think the walking path thing is interesting, right? I mean, you had a lot of responses that were excited about expanding the walking path, maintenance of it, things like that. I think that shows you how often it's used, right? I think it's like 64% or something like that for this song. I know that we're resurfacing that, sounds like the spring, which will be good. Make sure that doesn't deteriorate. But it's good to see that people are using that, and it really does connect a good amount of parks between Wabadonia, Murray Krause. And bringing it over to Fireman's would be awesome, so.
Yeah, I see the kids when they're home from college, they will
Mhm.
run. I see the kids out there running.
Great.
you have any other questions, anything?
Nope, that's good feedback. And then if we can go on to my next little project here. So in our actual open space plan book, it's a good 93-page document. We've gone through it before in past meetings. And so really, we're trying to just update this document to the best that we can. So I picked out two projects that I thought maybe we could do tonight in the next 30 minutes that we got. One of which is the goals and objectives sheet, which I gave you. And I thought, just very quickly, we can go through each of these goals, make sure you still feel that it's a goal for us. And then the objectives here, if there's any that you want us to cross off, add, then you can let us know as well. So that first one is to engage our citizens in both the active and passive recreational amenities in our park system by creating a stronger sense of community and a connection with the natural environment. Is that something we want to keep? Do we like that verbiage? I think it's an open-ended enough statement that,
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
and so the ways that we do that, we're going to analyze our parks and open spaces. Obviously, we're doing that right now. We're going to provide a variety of active and passive programs within each park. One could argue that maybe we don't quite do that right now. Do we want to?
Well, I wouldn't say that, I mean, we do, right? I mean, there's playground equipment, we're adding on to things, there's, so I think that we're actively doing that, both active and passive things.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably good to keep.
Develop a trail system to better connect our residents with the parks and natural environment. Obviously, that was a big plus. Protect the natural environment through education, preservation, and stewardship.
The only thing I would say about that is how do you plan to do that? We kind of cut our ties with River Edge on the education side of that. What would be the thought behind, or how would we go about doing that bullet point?
Yeah, and it's okay if we feel like, well, this is not our prerogative, maybe it is more of a River Edge thing or it's a school thing,
Mhm.
right? If this is not what we're gonna focus on as a municipality level, then we can cross it off.
I'm not gonna think we should cross that one off.
All right. Next one is we're gonna educate our community about the park system and better promote their amenities. We all wanna do that? That's why you're sitting here for Parks and Rec, yep,
We should, yeah.
I was named the-
great. We're
Are we
gonna
gonna
update
name
the
one
village.
Gansberg?
We'll continue to update the village website with all of our amenities. We continue to do that anyway. Encourage public and private donations and money, time, and talent. We obviously very much do that. Develop park maps and brochures. We do not currently do that.
I think it would be a nice to have. Maybe a park map on the website. I don't necessarily know that we would need to invest the time and energy for a brochure for our parks, but definitely something on our website I think would be helpful.
Provide standardized park identification signage throughout the community.
That would be nice.
No, we kind of started doing that with Marie Krause, so
Correct.
we can keep going on with that.
Yeah. All right, next, we're gonna involve our citizens in sustaining and maintaining our park system. Continue to educate the public about opportunities within our park system. You still want to do that? We do. Work with stewardship groups like Friends of Fredonia Parks and Recreation. This is in here, by the way, before we created it. For improvements of our parks and nature preserves.
But that was in there before,
You guys never did it, but you thought it was.
I mean, we didn't have a Friends of Front.
You do.
Pretty cool.
But they really wanted one, you could tell. All right, promote stewardship days, cleanup days, tree planting.
I think we should be able to get better at this. I mean, this is something that I've forever wanted to
Yeah.
do between cleaning up the creek and, doing stuff like that. There are people that are available that are interested in doing that, it's just, we just haven't really done it. So.
Yeah.
Stony Creek is a great example. Even the creek, flowing.
Down along Main Street.
Yeah, and in the disc golf course too.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be a perfect opportunity to get people going in there and whatever.
Cool.
So that'd be something I'd be interested in.
And then provide education and stewardship materials in our park system. So I don't believe like in the parks that we have, like, here, take this brochure as you walk through Marie Cross Park.
But my thing about that is like, unless you're doing like, look at this oak tree, like what?
Yeah.
Our park, you know, we don't have this gigantic park that's got, you know, all these different things.
Historical.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, while it's a neat idea, you know, I don't, and I guess the disc golf course would maybe be better with that, because you've got the flora and fauna and the water features and all that stuff. But, I mean, like Stony Creek Park, look at this dilapidated shed, you know, like, I don't know. It's- So,
All right, I'm crossing that one up.
Yes, sorry.
Next goal is to update our parks to better suit our changing recreational needs and population. Is that
Yes.
still our goal?
Yep.
We're gonna update existing playground facilities to improve safety and accessibility. We just talked about that. Provide a lighted Little League baseball field on village-owned property.
when was this last done?
This was last done in 2017. Yeah, 2017.
So before.
I mean, that would be, oh, for sure. I mean, it's one of the things that we've talked about for the last handful of months is how do we increase the soccer fields and the baseball fields within the village? I think it's something that we for sure need to continue
I'm sure that
trying
this,
to
yeah.
work towards. It's not a next year plan, but it
Yeah.
maybe should be a 5-year plan.
and I'm sure they're getting at us annexing that private property. that
Yeah,
Baseball fields currently. Provide a renovation program including fertilizer and herbicide application, aeration, dethatching, turf repair, and watering for all soccer fields at Fireman's and Marie Cross Parks over the next 3 to 5 years.
don't we already do that?
Pretty much done.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about firemen's, since we're kind of trying to limit the amount of soccer fields there at the moment, right?
Yeah, but that's already part of our. Yeah, I guess I would take that out just because it's already part of our parks maintenance.
Yeah.
I feel like
I
Eric's
agree.
done a really good job in the last couple of years doing that stuff.
For sure.
All right, next is improving pedestrian safety and connections between parks through multi-purpose trail and environmental corridor development.
Yes, can we add to that? And talk about the safety of crossing the main streets?
And then. I'll say walkability. throughout the village. All right. So this involves creating a continuous trail or shared use path between existing parks and along Milwaukee Street, Fredonia Avenue, and Martin Drive. It's probably where you can say to include crosswalks, sidewalks, etc. Acquire land for public multi-purpose trails through direct purchase or easement. I mean, I don't know where else we would do that beyond what we already have. Right?
That's what I was gonna say. I don't know where we would go with it from there.
Yeah.
Okay. Create a strong connection between the existing parks south of Fredonia Avenue to the newer residential neighborhoods to the north. That supports what we were saying before. All right, next goal is to provide a multi-purpose connector trail from the village of Fredonia to the Ozaki Interurban Bike Trail. Where is that? Just I don't.
Well, that's-
Trails in Belgium, isn't it? I mean,
Where does it, do you know where it started, where it comes out closer to 57? Is it on the south side of Belgium?
yeah, like those railroad tracks and whatever.
Get like anything close to 57 until like 4. So you would have to go through like Plaza Park and then.
Yeah, but that feels
So like,
it feels like
our property ends at 57.
Yeah.
it feels like that's out of our jurisdiction to.
Yeah,
Right, I mean, I, as much as I love it, I don't know.
Right, got it.
I love it, but I don't know how we'd do it.
feasibility of it is, I think.
All right, next here is to identify every park, nature preserve, and open space in our park system through similar signage, boundary markers, and points of access. We talked about that. Complete a site inventory and analysis for all properties. Well, that's what we're doing and building upon. Follow village policy and procedure while creating park plans for all properties.
Do we have that? Like, is there a policy?
I mean, this is that.
A little bit of redundancy, right?
Yeah. Provide legible wayfinding signage at major intersections and along major streets. It's definitely important. Provide each park with uniform identification signage, including standard logo font. And colors. As you noted, we're starting to do that with Marie Cross being the first one.
Speaking of signage, kind of off topic a little bit, but did we get that sign updated at the bottom of the hill heading towards Marie
So
Cross?
not yet, because we would include the PWSB splash pad
Okay.
logo on that signage, but
Is there something we can do temporarily? Can we attach a decal to the outside of them? As a side note, soccer season is gonna start pretty quick here. And it's not legible.
It does
And we
look
do
like
have-
soccer ball.
A lot of, you could. Could be fun.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
Yes.
Next.
Or
is-
brick.
Next is to provide a paved connector pathway from the Emerald Hills neighborhood to Northern Ozaki School District facilities.
Is that going through that backfield?
Yeah, there is that little open area. I'm assuming that's where.
Yeah, there's a little parking lot, makeshift parking lot on the backside of the soccer fields. Over there. I don't know if that's what they're talking about.
That says to acquire land or easement for a public pathway between Emerald Hills Drive and the playground facilities on school district property.
That must be weird, because that's right where the playground facilities are.
That's
cool. It is school property.
I mean, as long as
There
they-
is a path there. There's that road that.
Yeah. It's not a paved path. It's not a paved parking lot.
it's a path that the school district owns.
I don't know who owns that property. Dan's on it.
I don't know if it's parking lot, but I think the road goes between ball field and soccer.
Mhm.
And that's what happening.
I mean, this goal reads like as if we need to establish that, but if it's already been established, then we.
Well, I don't know. if-
It's not paved, it's,
Yeah, I think-
it's walking on grass that has now turned probably to a little bit of gravel and mud. So you get from Emerald Hills through the parking lot to the backside.
Well, I think they must have put more gravel down during construction.
Yeah, they used the millings from something that we did. Remember what it was?
I mean, I've driven on it.
Mhm.
Right, and you can park there for soccer game stuff. I'm just, yeah, it's part of the school end. We're talking about this little guy right here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's part of the school end. I know that there was some, of course, you guys can't see this, but as part of this whole thing, when a specific developer was gonna do something over here, there was gonna be a path that kind of connected all of the neighborhood, right? So I think right now the big thing is they've got this cross-country thing that goes around here, and one of the ideas was, hey, rather than having run on the streets, actually being able to connect this neighborhood right to the school was something that they were talking about, so.
Maybe that's something that gets taken out then, because we're still not.
That was when we were building, they were talking about, that was 8 years ago.
Yeah,
So if it's not a priority for us in the next, 5 years, then. keep it.
I mean, if something happens in that
Yeah.
area, I think then that becomes,
A discussion.
Yep.
For sure. I don't think- At this point, it's stagnant, right? There's not a whole lot happening with it, so I think that needs to come out for now.
Next is providing a hiking trail along Fredonia Creek from Deer Meadow Drive to Stony Creek Park.
there's,
Deer Meadow, it's up to
That's
you,
me.
right?
continuous hiking trail for Donia. Oh, am I on the wrong one here?
No, provide a hiking trail along Fredonia Creek from Deer Meadow to Stony Creek Park. It's back behind your house. Right?
This is Deer Meadow.
But where's the creek? Isn't the creek back?
Oh, yeah, the creek. is
Oh,
back
Deer Meadow.
there. Oh. Like, that's Paul's land,
Yeah, that's private property, right? So it's,
right?
There's really no. Until you get to the nursing home.
2017, you said this is updated? Let's try this again. Provide a hiking trail along Fredonia Creek from Deer Meadow Drive to Stony Creek Park. And then we're acquiring land through direct purchase or easement.
Would it be like behind my house?
Create a continuous hiking trail along Fredonia Creek from the new residential development north of Martin Avenue to Stony Creek Park. Yeah, I mean,
all private
again,
property.
it's all private property and I understand it's a really good idea to have. But you can't just buy property from people because you feel like it, like,
Maybe
Yeah, I don't know that
maybe
that's
nobody.
feasible.
Went after crap,
yeah,
went foreclosure.
that's,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that this part of it at least was probably developed. As the subdivision was being developed, is my guess. I don't know that that's feasible any longer unless, again, you'd have to have.
Yeah.
I don't know how you'd get in and out of there.
I mean, you'd be walking through somebody's yard.
Yeah, exactly, you know. Yeah, for the railroad track count?
I mean, I see deer walking on the railroad tracks all the time.
All right,
I love the idea, but I'm not trying to
Yep.
poo-poo it, I just don't know how you make it happen.
Yeah,
next up is updating an agreement which apparently exists between the property owner and the village for Oak Park or just acquire the property. And I think this body, we've talked in the past, is probably just acquiring the property at some point is more
Yes.
realistic. We've started those conversations with the owners there.
yes, I would like to definitely look at that, not only Oak Park, but that little space.
Yeah.
To the west of their parking lot west. Yeah.
So maybe the goal should be restated to just say acquire a property.
With that,
Mhm.
it's apparently they wanted to acquire all sorts of other property in here.
All right, let's just acquire all the property.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to worry about anybody complaining.
Yeah,
about
these guys are really
it.
land
Well,
development.
Yeah, they really want to buy stuff.
Next.
They do, we can yell at.
Next is plan for and provide additional parkland north of Fredonia Avenue through easements or land acquisition. Which again, this is now more northern area, but
I don't think until that is developed that needs to be something that we focus on. We're not looking to purchase more parks. We want to enhance what we currently have.
sounds great. Next, it actually is irrelevant. It says provide a plan for the unnamed park on Regal Drive. Well, it has a name now.
Freedom
It's
Park.
been developed. So we can nix that one. And then plan for and provide additional parkland through the acquisition of residential property adjacent to Stony Creek Park.
We tried to do that and then somebody bought the property.
Okay,
I won't elaborate on that.
beautiful. All right, and then I guess I'll ask you, Madam Chair, would you like me, the next part was gonna literally go through the parks. And I was gonna go through what the recommendations were at the time. Or for the sake of time, do you want me to just send these to you three and wait for your feedback?
No, let's talk about them real quick.
All right.
If you don't
Get it
mind.
done? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, the first one was Marie Krause Park. We all know where Marie Krause is, right? So this said at the time, the existing features were a gravel parking lot, 2 soccer fields, 18-hole disc golf, park gazebo, multi-purpose trail, park ID sign, picnic tables, and seasonal temporary portable toilets.
So that obviously can be updated.
Permanent. Seasonal toilets. Any other existing features that we should add?
I don't know that we have a gazebo, do we? Or-
Yeah,
we
we do.
We do.
We do,
That's- yeah, yeah.
right on the first one or whatever.
I mean, while we're updating this, we can say that it's gonna be a paved parking lot.
And there's going to be a splash zone.
Any other newer features that are there?
No, but
I think
isn't
there's-
it 3 soccer
I think
fields?
there are more than.
I think there's 3 soccer
Three.
fields there.
All right. And then under recommendations for this park. They wanted to provide a new village standard signage, which we do now. Plant shade trees around seating areas to facilitate enjoyment and use.
I want to say there are trees planted in that open space area by the gazebo. They just haven't grown a
Oh,
whole
yeah.
lot.
We should do, I've talked to DPW about this, but even providing some fast growing shade trees, or something like a silver maple, something like that.
Something
That
that's-
they're
yeah.
not great, but something that you could plant kind of by where the path goes by the soccer field or whatever, to provide a little bit more shade that way would not be a bad idea. Or in between the fields. Right? I think they put more right, oops,
I don't know that it would go between the
like right here.
fields. I don't think it would go there. I would look at something over this way a little bit, like I'm just thinking about during the mud run.
Hmm.
This section is like scorcher.
Yeah,
And then as you get over by,
maybe we still only have 2 fields, don't we? Oh, we
no,
have
there's 3, you got U14 and U12, U10, and then U8. Over here, but I think it's gonna be dependent on what happens. Exactly, the exact placement of the splash zone and where that's gonna be, but I think there's just a couple of trees in
Mhm.
here. That I think if you could put in some fast growing trees, dependent on splash zone stuff, might be.
Yeah.
Helpful because that's also a scorcher. Right,
I know this would be kind of a pain in the butt too.
I'd love to see some of that trimmed back and cleaned up a little bit. I'd like to see this cleaned up.
I'd like to see it look like, even if it's like 1 or 2 lights or something along the path in there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Just, I'm looking at pictures that nobody else can see. So we got our here's our parking lot, here's our path. The wastewater treatment plant area, that's kind of lighted, right? Because they got the big lights that go out over there, but this part of the trail is extremely dark. So that might be something to think about long term as well.
mhm.
I'll add that as a different bullet point.
That's right.
All right.
Jason wants a sledding hill. Over here,
That's probably, I see him buying stuff again. Put the soil right here.
that too. Get on that.
Buying things
Yeah.
again.
We're buying properties.
Cool.
I mean, by we, the village.
Yeah.
Just-
With all that
Just
money-
kidding. We're
all
not,
the
we're
money
not.
we got.
We are not buying any more properties.
We're not buying.
I would
any
like that on the
properties.
record.
All right, we got additional seating for the golf course. That was wanted then, it still is now. As improvements are made to the disc golf course, attempt construction of ADA accessible pathways. I think they wanted ADA accessible pathways for the disc golf course.
I'd love it. It'd be outstanding, but I mean, this whole golf course is built on the fact that it's like hilly and
Yeah, I
not
don't know how you.
level terrain and stuff, right? So, I mean, I'm to do an elevator list. Am I wrong? Aren't there benches at every hole now?
There are. Yes, benches. The
Right.
condition of those benches is to
Not
be
great.
determined.
Okay. We should take an inventory of that. That'd be
Okay.
good.
So we have seating, it just needs to be improved.
I think it needs to be improved, yes.
They mentioned providing ADA accessible toilets, we got that now. I'm
It's technically. there
I'm
are
erasing it
ADA
from the bullet point.
There's nothing over there. So-
Provide a paved parking lot, we got that. Complete paving of Wenzel Avenue, we got that, great. Hey, Dan, they have create and sustain recreational splash wet zone for public use.
It's
Look at
ahead of his
that.
time.
Light gravel.
Yep.
Wait, 2017?
2017?
I believe that the head of the parks program then was starting.
What was that for? Yep, next is create a new park master plan to accommodate a new Little League baseball field and playground while maintaining 2 soccer fields and facilitate fundraising and public support.
That's a
A
lot.
new park master plan. to
Can you
accommodate-
repeat that?
Okay, they want a new Little League baseball field.
Okay.
And a playground
Okay,
while also supporting the 2 existing soccer fields.
So
Which are now-
there's only one
Property.
soccer, or. Is that at Marie Kraus or at Fireman's?
They wanted to add a playground to. Marie
Oh.
Crest.
Oh, this is Marie Cross.
This is all still Marie Crest.
Wait, wait. So we're,
They
Adding-
want, so at Marie Crest, they wanted a new Little League baseball field
okay.
and a playground.
In addition to Oak
In
Park?
addition, apparently, in addition to the 2 soccer fields that were.
In order to do that, we would need to purchase more land.
We're not buying any more property.
So you've taken this list of 8 bullet points and now there's only 2. So in Marie Krause, what do you want to see? What other improvements do?
the addition of a pavilion there for
A larger pavilion,
Well, the playground equipment would be nice. We talked about
Yeah,
that, right?
yes.
Dry play.
Right, right. playground.
Drag play,
Maybe a,
all inclusive drag play.
Mhm.
sledding hill would be kind of cool.
That would be fun.
Is that the only park area in the village that could have it?
Oh, there's,
I know there's that spot right there.
what? No.
But then we'd have to acquire
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
It'd
yeah.
be more-
We might be by,
Unless we talk to some business owners and say, hey, we're gonna make this a sledding hill.
yeah, I don't know where we would have another, I mean, there are plenty of,
There's hills, but
There's
it's
slope.
private.
Right.
It's either private property or not owned by the village, or it's not in a reasonable space.
Yeah.
Right. thank you.
We have that space at Marie Kraus that comes down the big hill that the kids run for soccer. It's also used for disc golf.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. I
So
mean,
that's the only downfall of that hill. But if the splash zone is coming in over here, right?
mhm,
From here.
mhm. Yeah, we do have the.
I mean, we have that area there that,
Was supposed to be the splash zone that is now a hill that could be leveled out with millings and stuff on it. It could be neat, right into the parking lot.
right in the parking lot,
Maybe we'll,
Maybe
maybe we'll
put some-
burn it so we don't.
fencing up.
Yeah.
My daughter in the wheelchair was gonna roll from the splash pad into the parking lot too, and we changed that.
Yeah, that's nice.
But now they can sled into the park.
Still think this is about right.
But we have to acquire land, Dan.
Ask them.
Any other thoughts on Marie Crafts?
I would like to see, and I don't know if this is a village thing or, I don't know. I would like to see an additional building put up that would be used more primarily for like a concession stand. That Renee offered to run.
But you're so good at it. But you're saying. add
Can I
one.
put that on the record? Can you put that in the book, please? Renee is going to run the concession stand at Marie Kraus.
Oh.
Thank you.
We'll permanently put your name in there.
The splash pad? I mean, is it
Um,
the soccer field?
They have, it's not a concession stand, so they've got the two bathrooms on either side, and then it's like a little garage. It's enough to get maybe a UTV or an ATV in. They're currently utilizing that for their like sports equipment, for all the soccer equipment.
Sightedness.
So I know last year, I think they put up some tables and a tent to try and sell some concessions, but I think it would be better utilized. With all the things that we have going down there, not only the concessions for baseball, but when we have soccer games, there's typically disc golf going on when we're doing our mud run. There could be some additional opportunities for some groups to be able to sell and fundraise and earn some money. And especially if we're hoping the splash pad really takes off, that it could be like brat fries even, like a Piggly Wiggly does, you know? Maybe. I know it's pie in the sky, right?
I got it. Great. Anything else with Marie Crafts? Otherwise I could squeeze in one more part before we switch over to the next time.
Let's squeeze in one more part.
All right, the next one is Children's Park. That's again, the cute little park that's down there in the south end of town. That's like for one little neighborhood to enjoy. They have a lot of dreams for Children's Park. Instead of me reading this off, what do you want to see at Children's Park?
Take a look here. It's
Where is it?
under,
Children's Park is off of Pine Street. So, what is that actual road name?
it is, Forest Street.
So you come in on Pine, you take one of the split roads that goes up, and then it's a dead end road east to west. There's a little park like halfway, almost exactly halfway in between the road. There's a handful of houses on either side.
Yeah, just. the side
It's
of the road.
probably enough
Perfect.
space of one village lot.
Yes, 100 by 91.
So there's not a whole lot there. There's
Just one playground.
one playground structure, and I believe a set of swings, if I recall, and then there's some picnic tables there. It's not a very big park.
So there is, just looking at this from up high. There's a lot more room in that park actually than what's currently there, because there's woods and stuff behind it, so not that we wanna tear down the woods or whatever, but. There would be more room to do things, so what were we thinking? I'm just very interested in them.
That's the whole-
Over there, yeah.
They wanted
Yeah,
to
on the other
replace
side.
play equipment.
Yes,
That
could be upgraded.
ADA accessibility again. Create a landscape buffer or fence against neighboring properties. Yes, the neighbors didn't like that park there.
You didn't like the park?
They wanted to remove the sand base and replace it with wood chips or a soft surface. Which I know that was a point throughout all of our parks that some residents have talked about. Again, planting shade trees
Take a look.
and new signage.
Well, the signage thing, I feel like we're trying to take care of in all of our parks, right? So I mean, maybe that's just something that we can build in.
and yeah, that one does have a nice sign. It's
It's
not,
cute, I mean,
it's
it's
not,
very
cute little one.
fitting, it,
yes. It doesn't go with the rest of the village parks, so
But
if
if
we're gonna
it's-
update them, we're gonna update all of them.
but maybe, did somebody make that?
I think that park really, I'm torn. During our discussion, during our open forum, we talk about possibly eliminating a park. That would be one of them that we would talk about eliminating and putting more efforts towards Fireman's and Freedom and Marie Kraus slash Oak Park and keeping veterans.
And instead of necessarily eliminating, it could just be that, hey, this is a 5-year plan. Over the next 5 years, we're not gonna focus on that park because we have a
Yeah.
priority still.
That is kind of a park just for that little.
Subdivision.
Three roads, I mean, they really kind of all private park, maybe. They could put together a little parklands association and they could manage it. I mean, who else in the village even knows it's there, right?
Most
Who's gonna
people don't know it
drive all
even
the way out
exists.
there to use that little
Yeah.
tiny park,
Mhm.
they're not gonna walk up there.
Right.
From anywhere.
Yeah, let me see what the next park is. Next is Fireman's.
Let's not tackle that
Okay,
today.
let me go to easy ones. Next is that Guzikowski Retention Pond Green Space.
Hmm.
That is the one that is on the west-ish side of the village. It looks like this.
Oh, on the
Oh.
south side,
By, I think over by,
industrial park.
No, it's
No,
along
yeah,
Milwaukee.
who's the kids?
Isn't that
Oh,
like
what's her
September?
name? What's her name? Morano.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, Dan. It's the one that you had talked about. The one where you wanted to squeeze in
Yeah.
some houses.
You trying to acquire more property?
No, no, the
No,
village
he
already
went.
owns this. Yeah, the village already owns it. So this is right across from the industrial park. These are the apartments
Apartments.
and all that.
Yeah.
So there's this little strip of land. It ended up being a retention pond. We had to dig a retention pond, but anyway, it's a little strip of land that comes off of South Milwaukee Street and then it opens up and there's a couple of ponds back here. It's just a green space and quite honestly, I don't see anything other than green space being there.
Yeah, besides the normal ADA and signage, the only other thing that they said was investigating a potential for a nature path or boardwalk around the natural pond woodland. and
Yeah.
I mean, I could see doing something like that.
whatnot.
I think that would be a great place for people to take their dogs. You know,
It's really wet back here.
is it?
Mhm. But.
I'm just
yeah.
thinking there's that, you hike a lot in the area. Do you ever go to? It's off of Highway I want to say, in J Road maybe, up this way. Oh, what is his name? Big open farms, like essentially big open green space that there's a path that walks back to a little pond. Curious.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever been there?
I haven't been there, but I know what you're talking about.
That's what I envision that space being, like,
Right.
hey, it's nice out, let's get out and walk some green space in the area and take your dog and let him run.
Right, and the problem with it, again, for anybody that can see this right here, these are the total lines, so we're talking about. This parcel right here with these two retention ponds on it, it's very hilly, right, there's no just like smooth place for people to walk, you're going up and down, and you're going, all that stuff, so. this pond was built up right in the middle of the property, really large. So that, to your point, I don't know that, this is 100 feet wide, which is great, but I don't know how you would even get back here to do any sort of development, because that was one of the things to think about too. Like if we're not using it, it's just sitting there, can it be utilized for development in some way, right? Build a house or a condo association. I don't even know how you do that. You got a big old pond right in the middle of the thing. So.
Yeah.
And yes, back here is very wet. It was very angry sandhill cranes back there. Got chased out of there a couple years ago.
So what I'm hearing is that this is not a high priority park for the next 5 years.
Throw a sign up and say enter at your own risk or something. I mean,
No, I can tell you which parks are the high priority parks over the next 5 years.
The next one might not be a high priority, but it is an easy win if we want to talk about it quick, and that is this Meadowbrook green space. That's that little skitty land that's along here. Here. Along Meadowbrook.
oh, I thought you were pointing at the house.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking of.
Hmm.
So that one, staff has talked about if the desire from the village was to make a dog park, that's an easy one to do there. It's right in the middle of the village, there's connectivity to it. It's long enough that it gives areas for dogs to run. And it's very cheap for us to put, little doggy bag stations and things like that. The expense would come in is, if you wanted it fenced, right, that would be more costly, but it's just a skinny piece of property and we don't know what else we would do with it.
I don't know that I would invest anything into that other than maybe putting up a bench or two.
Mhm.
Doesn't that the water, whatever go right underneath that, isn't there like a stream that goes right through the middle of that park? Am I not seeing this right?
No.
On that
I think
south
have to
side
keep
there.
going.
Doesn't it?
I don't think so. There's another one that comes around over this way.
Yeah, but you're right, Dan, it's that if you follow the tree line, at least on my map here.
Are we talking the one right on Milwaukee and Meadowbrook? Or is that
I mean,
Milwaukee?
that's open by the village.
I was talking about the one thing. Keep going over here. Keep going. I was talking about this place. I think there's a little pond over there too.
This guy right here,
Yeah.
because Jerry Wyland owns all that.
Oh.
Yeah, so the point is that it's just a uniquely shaped lot that we own
Right.
and, brainstorming what would be best use for that property.
I just think that if you actually have a street, because right here, it's like the stream runs right through it, and then it goes underneath the road of this busted up culvert and goes into
Yep.
firemen's. I just don't know why I'm not opposed to it and looking at stuff, but if it's got water going through.
Yep.
Not a priority.
Mm-mm.
Anybody else?
And I guess just more tied to the survey, do we feel like a dog park is something that this village wants?
I don't
You
think so.
don't want
based
to-
on
Not
results.
according to the survey.
Okay.
Awesome.
And then, yeah, I'll probably pause there. And then Tiffany, you and I can talk about, when and where we want to address these other ones. So this is a good start.
Good, cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate you coming tonight. You're more than welcome to stay, but we are going to jump into our event planning. You might not want to stay, you might. Either way, whatever you want to do.
So I got stuff to do, yeah.
Thanks for being here.
I appreciate all your help. All right, switch.
That's always exciting to hear, like, producing information, right?
I'm gonna pause real quick and we're gonna kind of readjust tables. I'm gonna pull up a table, so I'm not gonna sit like a board tonight.
You still might grab that one.
Collaboration, please.
I'm gimpy, so sorry.
Oh my God.
My daughter kicked me. And she snapped my pinky finger and I had surgery a week and a half ago.
Oh.
Pins in my finger.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah. I know, that's what I'm sitting there like, really? I know, that's like, okay,
Vitamin D levels.
yeah, they're good. No,
They
she,
were.
she just like really slapped, yeah. Yeah, I turned around, I was tickling her and I walked out of the finger tree and I know she was looking right in the butt. And so I went like this with my hand.
Yeah.
But instead of her hand, she kneed me and my finger was sticking straight out and it just snapped. Yeah. Ugh.
I was 39 when I broke my hand.
You just turn those lights maybe one middle. Yeah.
We didn't talk about that, property.
We didn't. Can you make sure that's on the, we should talk about that because I would like to develop a path to get to that property. So,
It really drops off.
I don't
Comes
care.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I'm talking like 30 feet.
That's okay.
Sunny Hill, onto the
There
pond.
we go.
But it does actually go all the way to the road.
Right.
So we own
Good.
all the way to the road. It's, there's a. I think it's a 20-foot section. It starts basically right in line with whatever this is right here. And so it goes right there. Runs all the way along there and then. I think we're just staying on the same.
Yeah, there's,
I think it's just one. There's a lot of people here. This is exciting. Dedicated to the public. Fall and break your leg on, right?
they're still fairly generic, however, the minutes are included. The other week. Thank you. Whatever we met last month, I guess.
Partridge Lane. Yeah.
It's not Christmas?
That's perfect. So yeah, this is all, so apparently those ones have this thing about them.
Good to know. I'll be attending that. Thanks. Everybody's hanging out.
You know, it's great. Yeah, I know swim, it'll be great.
Okay, all right, so tonight we wanted to, I'll give you guys an update of this, the information that I have, what I know. We want to focus on volunteers and food trucks and try and get some of these things nailed down. I know Linda has some information on food trucks. I got some background information from, well, you have a little information. I have some background information from some other organizations, such as Fish Day, that I can share, whether we agree with it or not, we choose what we want to do, but we can kind of go from there, so. First things first, I know I spoke about it, a little bit ago. First off, the contract for Rebel Grace, I haven't heard back from him, I sent him the changes. I followed up on Friday, I haven't heard back, so I'm gonna try and touch base with him again tomorrow to get the updated contract, we can get it signed and situated. We are still locked in, their plan here, we don't have to worry about that, but we just wanna get that signed and sent back.
Question about that.
Yes, ma'am.
At some point tonight, we should talk about the stage stuff. so
Yes,
we
I
can
have
make
that,
sure
we need
I know,
a
I
stage
got it.
order, yep.
Yeah.
I have the
we get-
stage size in my email that I will get to. you.
Oh, we're going with Midwest? Or whoever
We'll
we,
tell you, give you the dimensions.
I have,
but
yeah,
we're going with the people who are bringing the tent, we're not
Yes.
getting a separate.
Correct.
Yep, send it to me and I'll.
so I'll get you that stage size, so we can get that on order. So with the booking company for Rebel Grace, he had mentioned, let me back up. The booking company for the Love Monkeys had stated that they have a different opportunity that they'd rather play for. And with Rebel Grace playing at our event, they wouldn't have enough time to set up because Rebel Grace's stage requirements are that they're clear for, I think, 3 or 4 hours prior, so.
Do we have to get them like M&Ms and stuff divided by color?
Might
Do we
just
have other-
green M&Ms.
Right, like, do we have other things we need to work on?
Yes, so, but the Love Monkeys are out, which is okay. The booking company for Rebel Grace had mentioned that he would get me a handful of bands that we could look at, however, I have not heard back from him, so I'll harass him again, on Friday. I didn't hear anything on Friday, I didn't hear anything over the weekend, so I'll get back with him tomorrow and see what he can send to us. I will, because I'd like to get these people booked sooner than later, I will send out a message to a group through, Facebook, our messenger group. And hopefully we can come to a decision quickly within the next few weeks, or if we meet sooner, then we'll bring it to the next meeting. But I would like to get whatever that second band is gonna be booked sooner than later. I confirmed with BJ Brumby, he is good for all day, he will get us an invoice, why am I looking at you, he will get us an invoice to get paid. So we're all good with him, everything is fine. There's a possibility, and I'll confirm as we get a little bit closer, right now I think he's gonna send me the invoice, but as we get closer, I'll have it.
Do we know how much that's supposed to be?
$300, I believe it was.
Okay.
It was relatively inexpensive, so we are good on the big ones. Next. I want to briefly talk about the parade because I do think that we need to start getting that going. Natalie, I know you had mentioned that you would be willing to head that up. So I guess a two-part question for you, and not to put you on the spot, with the board changing pretty soon here. Obviously Dan and I will not be on the village side of things, but on the private side, do we know who's gonna be staying on the committee from the village, if anybody?
Happy,
Parks. Committee,
grumpy.
We were,
if anybody.
Hmm?
If anybody.
I don't know that anybody,
I think she's hinting at, are you at least gonna keep Natalie on
Well, I-
this committee?
do you want to stay on the committee?
You don't have to answer tonight.
Well,
I don't
I
mean to
mean,
put you on the spot, but
I sent out an email asking about stuff like that, I think it was maybe to this email, so.
so then my follow-up question to that is, you've kind of been roped into it on the committee side. Do you want to stay on and continue to do the parade stuff or on before the 4th? And again, you don't have to answer. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but something to think about. You can message me later if you make a decision, but I do think we need to get that moving between now and our next meeting and start reaching out to clubs and individuals and start getting that figured out and situated. So. And parade marshal, who we're gonna open it up to, I know last year with the 150th, it was a little cuckoo magoo with fire departments and whatnot, so we have to think about how we wanna open it up to other municipalities, if anything, so. On that side of things, I am not suggesting we do this. This was one of the questions that I asked with one of the volunteers for Fish Day. How do they handle the parade? Again, I'm not saying that we do this, so please don't take this as what I'm suggesting we do.
So it'd be good. She's really giving us the.
I don't want to come back and say, you're gonna do this. Fish Day charges like a $50
Oh.
per parade participant fee for any group that is not a non-profit group. I'm not suggesting we do that because our parade is small, it goes quick, it's
Yeah.
not crazy. However, I wanted to bring you all the information. If we don't do a fee, do we ask donation? Do we want to look at anything like that to try and bring in a little bit more money for any of this? Again, I'm not saying we do, I'm just throwing this out there as a topic of discussion.
How many people did we have just kind of come up on the day of the parade last year? Or was everybody pre-registered?
I want to say probably 99% of them were pre-registered.
Were they?
Because we had numbers in June. Yeah, I don't think anyone was not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just remember all of a sudden.
We had a lot of people the couple of days before. People that would message and say, do I really need to fill out a form? No, we'll just put you in the lineup, like, not a big deal, whatever.
I feel we're too small right now to even charge, but I do know like Random Light, they're a pretty big parade and they this year are implementing a fee for everybody participating in the parade. And that's new this year and they've never done it before. I feel we need to grow a little bit before we start charging, not that we turn away 4 people.
I mean, in all reality, this is our second year for doing the parade.
Yeah,
I mean, they did one for the fire department, we did one for the 150th. this is really our first year for parade, not celebrating a momentous occasion within the village.
Last year, bless you, last year, did we have a good number of spectators, or was it just a lot of people that were in a parade? I can't remember.
I thought there was a lot of people along
Were there?
I think it was a decent amount of people that were along the parade. It's a very short parade route.
It went from St. John's all the way down to the fireman.
Yeah.
So short.
Yeah.
It got more people as you went further into the parade. and
Right.
it got
From
closer.
Milwaukee Street to the fire
Right, on
department,
the
there was a
pretty
ton
well
of
lined
Yeah.
people.
Because they probably all want to park close to where.
Yes.
I was just thinking that, you know, in lieu of a fee or something, we could say everybody that's in the parade needs to have some sort of like giveaway type thing. I'm not saying throw candy or whatever, but like some sort of something, because I think that would create more people that would, you know what I mean, come out. Then again, there are people around the middle of the road maybe too, I don't know.
Yes, which is always a concern. And we do need to make sure that we touch base with Marshall on all of this as well. I don't know that there was any large amount of groups that didn't have stuff
Or
that they threw out.
I guess.
Um, I mean, we were at the beginning of the parade last year. You know, I can't even tell you because I didn't even watch the rest of the parade. I
See,
could have done it.
I'm not sure, I guess I don't know enough about the demographics and everything that came to the parade to know.
There was a lot of candy because
What's there?
I stood at the end, like at the, before it turned, and I stood there for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I got some candy.
I mean, I did see the road after the parade. A decent amount of stuff. My kids came home with a ton of candy.
Okay, all right.
And whistles, don't forget.
And with those, we will request
No
to
whistles.
the Lions Club to not donate whistles this week. On behalf of all the parents in the village of Fredonia, please no whistles. We love you. We appreciate your support. Please no whistles.
Okay, scratch that idea then. I mean,
So, yeah, I mean, I think almost every club or any participants were throwing stuff out.
and I think, you know, you always run the risk of such a small village that if you've got all these people that are participating in the parade, then there's nobody watching the parade, and so that's why I was kind of like.
And I think that's a little bit of what happened with the fire department parade. I
Yeah.
mean, they still had a decent crowd, but there were so many parade participants.
Yeah.
That I think there was more in the parade than watching the parade. Which I think is okay too, you know, I mean, in all reality, the parades are for who? It's for the kids. It's to show off our clubs and maybe get the word out for a few clubs that people don't know about. You know, to draw some excitement before the big day.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a small fee, like $10 or something, only because then it kind of supports what we're doing, you know what I mean? You can support the event itself and, hey, this is fun, and now $10 is a lot if you've got, you know, 90 people, that's a lot of people, but if you got 30 people and talking $300 and it pays maybe for the hours that people are, you know, whatever. So I don't mind that, but again, are people gonna balk at $10? I don't know, you got people donating thousands of dollars for stuff that I never thought was gonna happen. So,
Yeah, but I
I
look
don't
at the hoopla around the trees, the holiday trees. We had talked about charging and there was a lot of
I know.
backlash on that.
So that would be, I would say the one kind of frustrating thing is everybody wants everything, but they don't want, you know.
Everyone wants everything for free.
Can you frame it as, I mean, if you're doing like a $10 charge per wagon or whatever in the parade. For cleanup, for, you know, for taking care of the street before and after, for the, you know, the cost, fire, the marshal standing guard and doing whatever. I mean, if you put it that way, it's for safety, it's for,
Yeah,
and if you frame it the right way, wouldn't it clear a little more easily?
I don't think so. I mean, because I mean, really, it is legit to charge for parade, like for
Yeah.
the security and stuff you need or clean up extra time. But I still think you're gonna have people squawk. People complain about $5.
Yes, people complain about everything, but
I'm thinking no, so I'm sure.
yeah, but I mean, it is a legitimate concern, right, because. I mean,
Do you frame it, you know? If you can make a donation to Friends of Fredonia.
At will donation.
You know, like, it's not required, but
And you can put that on the flyer, donation, you know, it's not like there's no parade fee, however, a goodwill donation to support our law enforcement or whatever, the expenses we have on the day of the parade would be, you know, greatly appreciated.
And there you go with the law enforcement, like a goodwill law.
Well, I mean, cause it's true, right?
I mean, we're gonna be,
all that
yeah.
stuff.
well, it's not only, yeah, we've got how many guys that are gonna be there the day of that, obviously it costs us money, we're gonna have at least 3 at the parade.
Right.
And then we'll have guys walking the event all day long.
Maybe
Mhm.
have to park the trucks and.
Right, so I mean, it's not like a line, you know what I mean, does cost us something. But something to think about, I don't think it's a bad idea, but I don't, maybe you don't charge a fee, but you just suggest the donations you have.
You know how much Random is charging?
No,
The porch chart was
50.
50? Or 50? Well, and that's for
Yeah.
profit.
And I think that's actually a lot less than what it used to be.
I mean, that's a well-established
Yeah.
Yeah,
parade.
But I mean, you know, so I mean, $10 is like a low fee and it basically makes us break even on,
yeah, I agree. I mean, it seems like a low fee, but I just wonder, like.
make
there's
it
some-
$9.99. So,
I think about,
There's just some tops that'll be like, no, I'm not.
you know, I think about like the Girl Scouts. Are they going to participate if it's gonna be at Castle? You know, to send in a donation or, you know, do this or do that. And we wanna make it easy for people, right? We wanna be inclusive of everybody in the community as much as we can. And welcome everybody with open arms to our parade,
Maybe just have someone with
a jar.
a jar at check-in and people just throw some, whatever.
make it a donation the first couple of years and people start
And
getting
see if
used
we
to
can,
that.
if it grows, then we, you know, we can always see how it goes this year and try it again next year and see what happens.
And that also gives you time to see how Random Lakes stuff pans out.
Mm.
Yeah.
For the facts and numbers of.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm 90. I just licked my finger to the page. Does anybody want to take a stab at making a flyer that would include a note about goodwill donation and then like a registration card of some sort on it?
well, don't we have that from last year?
Just to box them, yeah. I'm saying if we're gonna go out and start talking to people, I'd like to be able to have something to take along with it and then have something about the donation. Goodwill donation or whatever. on there. How it goes out.
I would say we could just take our existing thing, make that a tear off, right? They can fill out, they would participate, and the top part can be the actual information about it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I would handle that in-house.
Okay.
What time is the parade start?
11:30. Okay,
When did that parade run last?
no more than a half hour. Pretty quick.
And you use the same path again, is there?
Yeah. As we start getting closer, if you and Jason are going to head up the parade, I definitely want to talk about like the lineup and staging.
Okay.
Because that was kind of a little chaotic last year. So I'd like to talk about options too, what we can do to make it easier for this year, so.
Maybe just use like, them to get their ladder in there.
Well, and I think
People
We
showed
had
up
a-
way earlier than we thought they would get there.
they did,
So
and we had
definitely get
a
there.
lot of fire trucks from Fredonia and Monaco and Belgium. That they were lined up almost to my house,
Mhm.
so. Just lineup, I think, needs to be a little bit easier and better, and people understanding for sure what's what, and maybe it's a matter of like, send a representative and we have a quick meeting Thursday before the event and just walk through what parade lineup looks like. Doesn't have to be super long, but something to be a little bit proactive on, making sure that it goes smoothly. Worst case scenario, just show up and we send you down the road. Do what we can to try and keep it organized and not stressful.
Yeah, he wasn't stressed out over it, he was just like.
Oh, good, because I
he's like,
was.
Here, no, you go, it's just like, he took charge.
Right from one side of the brain.
He's like, we'll get you going. Oh, okay, you can't be by me, oh, we're gonna put you here and you gotta be out early, okay, you're going here now. He just. It was like he'd done it many times.
Okay, all right, so next meeting, we will touch base more on the parade and start hammering that down. Chris, if you guys could have
Mhm.
a first draft of a flyer, that would be great.
Yep.
All right, food trucks. I'll jump in first, again, talking with my volunteer that handles Fish Day. And again, it's Fish Day, I'm not saying we do this, but this is just trying to get recommendations or ideas of what other municipalities are doing. They have a set fee that they charge for every participant that shows up to sell food, whether it's $100 or it's a percentage of their profits. So regardless of the group that shows up, they pay the state committee something to be there. So like your post,
Where I learned that people are just awful.
yes, and are terrible.
Yeah, that's what I know about food trucks.
Yes, so, Lauren posted on one of the Wisconsin food truck pages. There's a number of food truck pages that you can post in there. Where are there food trucks? We're looking for food trucks to come to our events, things like that. Lauren had posted something about, would you pay a fee to come to an event? And people were blasting left and right, like, absolutely not, we would never pay for something like this. Why would we give anybody else our money? And it was, well, I don't know, because
Well, who
obviously
support?
Pork does it and Fish Day does it, and they get
I
a decent amount of money, I don't know.
helped organize food truck events long. Okay, no problem. But we did have one where it was like, this is what you're gonna get this percentage. There have been larger ones that have been held in Milwaukee, same thing, it's a fundraiser for the school. They have like 15 food trucks show up or whatever, and everybody is donating money from the sales that they had that day. So the reaction I got on there was kind of.
So I was surprised I was
Because I
surprised.
was like, I'm not saying anybody has to do this, I'm just asking if there are food trucks available in the area that might consider doing something like this, not you have to pay, and it became, how dare you even ask that?
You have to remember on the internet, the people who have something to, and ask the grind are the
Oh, I
ones who are
learned
gonna
that
be
very well since
very
we
annoying.
moved here.
There are a few keyboard warriors out there, I know, I mean, but
But no, it was pretty shocking, and I tried to find my old food truck list and I can't.
Do we have a list of who was at court at Fish Day? Can your friend give us that?
I can ask her.
Because if those people are used to paying, then obviously, maybe we start with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of know some of those.
So what, I have been doing over the last probably year or so, is anytime I see any kind of food truck event, I screenshot it and send it to Chris to put onto the food truck list that we have, that's growing, so.
Well, do we start with our food trucks that are doing the Tuesday tunes?
We can ask them.
I mean,
Um,
we've worked with them, obviously,
Do
We
they have to
have-
pay for that?
no,
a bunch on here.
but
What's that new one?
But this
they're
might
making
be,
money off of that. so
Right.
They
So
could,
this is a much bigger event.
they might
Right.
feel
Yeah.
like, oh, I have this relationship with the village, I would certainly pay.
And I think what we need, one of the things that we need to think about along with the food trucks is we have a concession stand. We still have to figure out what the fire department is gonna do, if anything, if they're gonna open up one of their bays or two of their bays to sell out of there. How many food trucks can we support at this event? We know we had what, 300 to 500 people last year, which was great. I suspect it would probably be similar this year, maybe grow a little bit. I'm not saying that we're gonna get a 30% intake in people. But I would suspect it would probably be very similar. Maybe a little bit better if we have Rebel Grace playing at night. But how many food trucks can we support? If we've got 300 to 500 people that are there,
What time is Rebel Grace starting?
7:30.
That's why we got to do it one too.
We need somebody there that's gonna play music for the dinner crowd, you know, the late afternoon and the dinner crowd.
Just to say, you just want to make sure you've got food there, at least at the start of that, if people are just coming in for that. I mean, I know for the firemen's, when we got there, there's no food left, and it's like,
So I wonder about like
this is stupid.
time stuff too, right? Because you think about like the firemen, the firemen's club doing brats and burgers or whatever, that's something that you can cook up, you have a mess bill or whatever, and you can sit there all day, you know what I mean? For a food truck, to sit there for a few hours and not do anything and not know if you're gonna sell anything and all that stuff, it's problematic. So is there a way that we can say, okay, well, maybe we have the food trucks earlier for the lunch time period or something like that, and then, you know, we do still have food, but it goes later on into the night type deal with some of those things that you can kind of have ready, kind of not type deal, going forward. Just a thought.
Or you like space out when you have food trucks, right? Like you have like, if you have the concession stand and a food truck during the day, and then at night you have a food truck come in. For
Like you have your ice cream and donuts in the afternoon when the kids are there.
Later or something, I mean, that's an idea, the snack shack people come, you know, 7 o'clock or something, see if they wanna come and stay until 10 o'clock or whatever, you know, I mean, that's when.
Say Cheese Curds Company.
Sure,
whatever goes good with drinking.
I mean, yeah, you just have people sitting there drinking.
yeah,
Cheese Curds.
Cheese curds and tots.
yeah, so I think.
Seems to be like
Pretzels, yeah.
in this area.
Think about that stuff. I mean, that might,
Baked and loaded, Spud Wet. I keep seeing it pop up on like some of like the area, like buy sell trades and like something. I think it was Random Lakes. Was talking about this like on some.
Can you share that to me?
Well, yes. I spoke, you mentioned.
then I think about it, there's food trucks that, you know, they'll come and they'll only have 2 hours for a 5K, and then they're done in a minute. You know what I mean, so.
I mean, yeah, maybe you slot out 5 different, you know, not 5, but however many different windows of time, you have 2 trucks or.
Here's a dinner rush, and then.
Right.
We know at like 7 o'clock or something, you know, we need something else.
When
and
I was
that's more
falling in for a second.
Foodie, I know, it's like.
Here we go.
Yep.
Have a good run.
You almost made it out of there.
So I think that if we're careful
I
with that.
kid Chris, it's
and we-
with a lot of love in my heart that
Alright.
I'm saying goodbye.
I've always agreed with it.
You wrote her in.
Yeah.
Just like when the two of you were here.
Yeah. Oh.
You shouldn't have told me, because now there's gonna be a write-in campaign, you're not even gonna know about it.
Well, I think we can't register for it anymore. can we?
Actually,
Yeah,
yeah,
you can.
Oh, I thought it was registered. You can. You wanna?
You do the paperwork, so I can get it for you again?
So what happened, side note, Dan gets a lot of votes as a write-in.
If he's not registered, it doesn't matter.
Oh,
You get 100,000 votes and
Yeah.
well, that's true.
Yeah, sorry.
not as president. That, you can have that.
Thanks, thanks.
All right, let's focus.
Thank
Whoa.
you, sorry.
I like that.
The project
I
manager.
was just gonna say.
Can we just focus on what we're doing
Yeah,
here?
sorry.
I wanna go out in the rain.
Yeah. I'd love to go to something like
Yeah,
this.
food trucks.
So I think we can be careful with that, right? And we think about the type of food truck that we're bringing in at different times, I think we can be very successful. You know, I think if we're bringing in an Italian food truck at 11:30 in the morning with like lasagna and stuff, we're gonna go, no, it's not gonna work, you know?
But you bring in a taco truck and let people.
Yeah.
eat it.
Yeah,
I mean, they have those
Talk about
tacos
all
like
day
at that restaurant right by Random. The one between Random and Adele, they have that.
oh,
Mexican restaurant, and they always have taco truck there.
Yeah.
Like a
Or
small
they-
truck, is any- or
Yes. Okay, so this is a quick list. We've got Chameleon, I have no idea what they do. Kick and Ash Barbecue, Caribbean Taste, I don't think that's a good one. For our event, Tasty Tie, I don't think would be great for our event. Inferno Subs, Joe's Coffee Bar, Frozen Beaker, Any Street Grill, Big Blue Yummy, Vanilla Vanilla Crepes.
Big blue, yummy.
I have no idea. I'm gonna go with barbecue probably. Smokehound Barbecue, Legendary Gyros, I'm gonna go with. Om's Food Truck, the Cookie Crate, Terra Verde Scoops, Eric's Curbside Grill, Kona Ice, that would be a snow cone place.
That'd be awesome.
El Bistro Taco,
So well.
Say Cheese Curds, I think would be a good one.
For food, yep.
Inferno Heat Hibachi, Thailand in a truck, the dough shop. Lucia's Cucina, they were at, I believe they were at our music in the park last year. They were fine. They had really big portions. Harvest Street, they did the historical music event in Waukesha last year. They were really good. Fana's on the Fly, Golden Gourmet, Waffle Sticks, that might be an interesting one. Romero's Taco Truck, Vincent's Smokehouse, Zaus Fresh Egg Rolls, on the Fritz Concessions, Cousins, The Snack Shack, Fast Fresh and Delicious, which I believe was also one that we had last year. Cantina Cucina, Boots Barbecue, Ben's Soft Pretzels, I think would be a good one. The Cupcakery, I think would be a good one. That Taco Guy, Coyotes, What's the Scoop, I think would be good if they show up. Tots on the Street, Chick-fil-A, Chubby Bunny, Boba, and Dessert. On the Block Burgers, I think would be a decent one. Flips Mini Donuts and Sippy Hippie Coffee Truck. That's who we've got on our list. That's a lot.
It is a lot, right.
We're just trying to continue to have a running list of whatever.
I think you do like a Chick-fil-A or the burger place or tacos around the lunch hour, get some cupcakes and snow cones in the middle of the afternoon for your kids, and then do some heavier dinner stuff and then, or the drinking food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you get the snack shack there around 8 o'clock or something, 7, right, if they wanna come late, right? I would love to have something late there till like 10 or 11, you know what I mean? Because maybe
That's what I
that's,
would have. I mean, like I said, the times I've been there, they're not food anymore. It's been,
and like, something like, oh, I want a soft pretzel, or I, you know, half in the bag and I wanna go.
I want snackies.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I want
Yeah,
snackies
do that damn
after against beers.
Pub
like-
mix that Costco has or something, you know what I mean? Like, I want some of that. You know.
Dirty hands, everything.
Oh, yeah.
It was a bad example, Tiffany.
Just saying. Pretty gross.
I'm sure your snacks, but.
The last handful is mostly skin cells, you know.
you know. I'm gonna come over to your house and dump out all the snacks.
right, I'm gonna,
All right, Tiffany.
we're gonna refocus. Focus.
No dead skin cells, please.
I know,
So,
I know, it's your last hurrah.
Not on this one. You're stuck with me.
that's right.
You're not going anywhere.
All right, let's get through this.
All right, so the ones that I marked, Kona Ice, Say Cheese Curds, Waffle Sticks, The Snack Shack, Ben's Soft Pretzels, Cupcakery, What's the Scoop, and On the Block Burgers. So,
No food.
we do have a lot of junk food.
My son would really like it if you got the Chick-fil-A.
I think a lot of, like, the younger kids would really,
My son would, it would make his day.
when I say younger, it could be like anything from like younger, like, to like the college kids who come home
Right.
for the summer.
So we don't know yet who's doing the food for the fire department or what they're doing, right?
No,
We
is
really
Lisa
do.
coming to me? Like, what input has she provided on what they're coming?
I don't think we can count on them to do anything, it sounds
Yeah.
like. I mean, until they commit.
They
to
haven't
something,
committed to anything.
Then we
so-
assume they're not.
I would just, you know, it'd be nice if we knew that they were going to do something like the burgers, brats, whatever, like the typical crap, so that we could say, okay, we don't need Ben's Burger Barn. or-
Well, don't you think if they were going to do it, they would have said so by now?
Probably not, they'll come last.
Okay. That seems,
And then it's just a matter of like profit sharing. I know that was a huge hang up, last year is, are we willing to have that conversation with them too?
I mean, it would be nice for them to be part of it.
Friends of Fredonia is selling their beer supply that day, so.
I'm not saying you would do it, but.
I think I mean, we find
Yeah,
a big
30.
football team or something like from Ozaki. I'm sure there's some clubs at Ozaki that'd be more than happy to sell and make some money.
So here's, you can keep talking. I'm gonna just type this out. I'm asking Lisa if they'll give us a commitment on what the fire department's gonna do.
I just think for local clubs who have not done a lot of concessions, it's hard to know how to plan, how much food you have to buy. And that could be a huge outlay for a smaller club to do that. I just think it's more difficult for the football club to do it.
Right.
And we're already doing.
Unless you've got a club that, like you said, is used to it, right? That's gonna be selling burgers, whether they do it, in July or whatever, June, or they know they've got a big fundraiser coming up later. So if they
Right.
don't cook them all, they're just frozen, you can just keep going on.
So here's what I was thinking on that front. What if we would reach out to Shani Katzen,
Who?
the snowmobile club? Is it Shani Katzen that does the 5K in Belgium? Or is that Snow Runners?
Snow Seekers.
Snow Seekers, so maybe we talk to Snow Seekers because they do a huge fundraiser. They're used to that kind of activity. I mean, the Snow Runners used to put on huge events every winter. They have volunteer bags. They've got a pretty decent. group.
She's not.
That's a part of what I wanted to talk about tonight is, do we seek out some of these groups that we know has the volunteer base? That would
Will
be-
the fire department let us use their bays if they're not doing it?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I mean,
Question.
cause then you've got,
It opens up for more space. It's not just a folding table with a tent.
I mean, if. I guess personally, I would try to get the fire department to commit, and then if they don't wanna do it, ask. Can we have someone else come in and use your space?
Well, we don't need to ask them. It's a village asset, right? It's our building that we control. and-
Well, then we tell them what's going down. We will move your trucks and cook our burgers all damn day long.
There you go.
We're gonna have Renee tell them.
Oh, okay, all right. You can deal with the chief. Good.
No, I've just gotta get a stage.
Yeah.
And some mini golf.
Every time the chief sees me and I walk up to talk to him, it could be to say hi. Oh, what do you want now?
Who's that?
Last time he was at a board meeting, what do you want? Well, I'm trying to give you something, so.
So how long do we give the fire department before we decide, okay, we're gonna move on?
Let me see let me give Lisa till like a day or two to see if she can
Yeah, 'cause
respond
I'm
back
just
to
wondering
something.
like what kind of pull Lisa has. if
Well,
she-
Well, so, okay, very briefly, so the fire department is a municipal department. They have an association. The association is what does all the fundraising, so all of their events and everything that they have are run through the association, which is a nonprofit agency. So that nonprofit also donates money to the school for what do you give, scholarships, thank you, I was gonna say sponsorships. That thing that you give kids to go to college. That's what they utilize for any of their donations, any of that. So any money that they take in from donations from their broad prize and stuff goes through the association. Gotcha. The association, from what I understand, is made up of all volunteer firefighters. So they're essentially, it's kind of like us to a point.
One group with two different labels.
Yes. So Lisa, from what I understand, is on the association. So she's representing the association on what their contribution is going to be. Now they're gonna get their volunteers from the fire department because that's one and the same. But everything would be run through the association, so. which means some of their rules are a little bit different. They work through the association, similar to, you know, everybody wants to donate money, so you donate it to the nonprofit of the fire department versus donating it to the municipality.
Gotcha.
That's a long of it. So I would like to give Lisa a day or two to get back to me. And then if they don't make a commitment, then we're gonna tell them that we're gonna utilize one or two of the bays. We'll have to move the trucks outside. We'll figure it out, whatever.
We'll be out already for the parade.
Right.
But we're gonna try and utilize the bays for bringing in different groups for selling food. I'd like to try and keep it to a minimum. Obviously, we don't want a lot of people running around the inside of the fire department. We can help it for numbers of reasons. But if we can target a group or two, like Snow Seekers or Schneekatzen or something along those lines, the ATV club, something along those lines that has a large group of members, I think we'd be better off than seeking out like the football club or the baseball club or, you know, soccer club or whatever. So.
Find the group that wants to make walking tacos.
I don't know if
That
anybody
makes sense.
else has thoughts or agrees or disagrees or. I'm not calling Lori. Does anybody else know anybody at Schneekatzen?
Well, I know Kent.
Kent,
Fuller
yeah.
is out, I'm gonna
He's at
text-
Snow Seekers.
Yeah, I'm gonna text him right now.
I think I've got the names of the people at the ATV club, so I can reach out to the ATV club. I think that would be a huge possibility for them, especially as we're.
Cause they can all ride their UTVs in. Just bring them all in.
And actually, that would be really cool to have the UTV, like if their club would do it, being that this is the first official year where people could ride their UTVs and for the worship park.
They could be part of the
Really
parade.
good idea.
They were in the parade last year.
But this year, they can ride it home.
Yeah. All right, I'll reach out to the ATV club. Yeah, you know a lot of people. Do you know anybody at Schneekatzen? All right, we'll start with those two and see if we get any traction with them and then figure out with the fire department. Even if the fire department does decide they're gonna sell food during the day. I imagine it's gonna be, if they do, would be similar to what they did last year, that they were done by 4, right? They kind of all put out,
They can be the first shift.
but then maybe we bring in with other clubs for the nighttime stuff. Maybe they want to do a corn roast or, you know, bring in something a little bit different. So we can make suggestions all we want to consider that. So. Okay. So that we'll hopefully have a mix between them, and maybe it's ATV and snowmobile. Maybe ATV does during the day, snowmobile does at night. I don't know. We'll see what they say. I would like to have a couple of backups though, for like another food option during the day, aside from just snackies. I think it would be a good idea to have snackies there. So any other thoughts? Do we try and see if Chick-fil-A would come in during the day?
I would see that, yeah, they advertise now that they have the food truck. It's on every time.
Kid would be there. I don't know.
Kona Ice, do we think mid or noon till like dinner time?
I think I'm right after the parade.
Maybe 3?
If the day's hot.
I know,
be
people are
going
gonna
for that.
buy.
It's not?
Dan's gonna be there.
It's Wisconsin, they'll still be going for
You
it.
never
you
know.
know. I mean, we eat ice cream in the middle of the winter. 40 below.
Yeah.
Kids see
What's
that,
your
they
name?
Huh?
want it,
Yeah.
that's all it is,
Wanna
and then
get
they'll
off of
start
that game
having
music.
it.
My kid will be one
But
down.
their ears just
Chick-fil-A, some cupcake,
Starting.
sugar them up.
right?
All right, what about say cheese curds?
Yes.
That's snacky, drunky food. I like it. What is that all they have, cheese curds?
I don't know, it's somebody from Chris's list. I have to look them up.
Remember having that
You
one,
had it?
Caesar
Yeah, man.
Seats are, yeah.
You don't remember? I
Yeah,
haven't
he
seen
used
him,
to
but
do
he was
the
always in
chicken
Randall.
tenders and stuff.
You're about to knock over the
Random
flag,
Lake.
Brittany.
Don't know.
The Brandon Lake Fire Department guy, no,
Sure,
he
back.
would set up at the fire department and so.
I just don't remember seeing him.
Yeah,
We're always-
he's getting back into it. I keep seeing his posts,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, he does do it.
They're so good.
What about waffle sticks?
That is sweet
I
or
love
savory.
We'll take them off.
It was like a chicken, like, is it
Like a dessert waffle.
a dessert waffle or like a
They're like waffle,
chicken
they're like
waffle
this.
sandwich
That could be just.
on a stick?
You get to put them in themselves and-
I have a waffle stick maker at home.
Snack shack,
Absolutely.
nighttime-ish,
Yeah, see you all later, come.
and soft pretzels.
Yes.
Yeah. That'll be probably in the evening, but
All possibilities, soon as available. Right?
Who wants to come?
The
And if they'll pay
cupcake curry,
$100.
well, I had pretzels last year for
Cupcake,
softball.
I think the cupcakery would be better like daytime.
daytime,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Um. What do we think about that taco guy? He's doing 2025 music in the park.
I mean, we're probably not gonna get them all.
No, and we have to see who's available. I just want to try and give a little bit of detail if we can.
Yeah.
What's the scoop? They do like a 1 to 2 hour increment that I think if we could get them, I know you're jaded, but. They showed up. last year, so.
I say we pick the Kona ice over what's the scoop.
Yeah,
Okay.
what's the scoop we already have for the mudroom, if they show up?
It sucks that you gotta say that every time you mention their name.
The thing is, like, they flaked once though.
It's,
And it was a big deal.
it's ruined your reputation.
That's all it takes.
But they showed up last year and they showed up in my neighborhood and
They've lost trust.
it was.
Every Tuesday they cruise through and the dogs go nuts because they have cups.
Oh, no.
On the block burgers.
You-
Oh, Chick-fil-A. I already have Chick-fil-A written down for date.
I guess, again, on the Blackbird, it depends if the fire department's doing brats and burgers.
I
I
mean-
don't wanna overstep that either.
Right, if we've
If
got
we-
somebody doing the brats and burgers out of the fire station, then
Okay. So if we have the fire department, the ATV club and the snowmobile club all doing like a main dish food of some sort. She has it.
is he in?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, tell me again. He says. And it better not be long. Okay, so between the three, if we have all three of them do something for like a main food dish, do we think that would be enough? For it? And then supplement with snacks and whatnot?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, does anybody want to volunteer to reach out to food trucks?
I can reach out to Chick-fil-A.
Mm.
And Cupcake Arena.
I mean, you have numbers for these people or just?
No, you gotta find it.
We actually have a relationship with the Cupcake Arena.
If you just let me know which ones.
Okay, Jamie, you're gonna do Chick-fil-A.
So how many hours realistically should we ask for Chick-fil-A? Or if they have like, you know, can ask minimums to.
So the cupcakery, I would say 2 to 3 hours maybe during the day. Like a noon to 3, maybe, noon to 2-ish,
I would do Chick-fil-A probably.
noon to 6.
See what they would do.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, okay.
Who am I contacting in this third month?
Kona ice,
Nice.
say cheese curds.
Wait, these are on stands.
These are ones Dan's are gonna come. Dan's
It's in moment.
Ben soft pretzels.
I can take a couple,
The snack
or
shack.
if Dan's got it then.
Tell them to sample all the stuff before they say it.
That's good.
We have a contact for snack shack. That taco guy.
Well, Monty's gonna have a lot more time on his hands, so.
That's true.
I'll contact what's after you let me know about.
You just don't want me to talk to them.
I don't. Are you gonna actually show up this time? And then we can possibly look at unblock burgers. Yes, I saw their truck driving down the road and took a picture of it and sent it to Chris.
Nice.
Put it on the list.
Good. I have Kona Ice Cheese Curds Company, Bun Soft Pretzel Snack Shack, the Taco Van, and the Doctor.
Yep. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, the next thing that, we were gonna talk about was face painting. I reached out to a couple people. Natalie also got a hold of the marvelous Michelle Bubble Lady. So the lady I talked to, they used to be Painted Faces, if you have seen their name out and about. They are now called Brilliant Brushwork. The mom used to do it and now the daughter and her friend have taken it over. They're been doing it for a while. So they have two different options. They have availability. They'd like to come and do our event. They're local, they're from Grafton. They're really interested. She called me back almost immediately, which was great. So there's two options that we can do. One is that the public pays. So any kid comes up and they want their face painted, they pay for it. They would ask for a $50 deposit from us just to kind of hold the event, and that would be the cost on the committee. That would bring two painters and possibly one person in front, like collecting money and, you know, organizing things. The other option would be that the village would pay or the committee would pay, and it would be two painters and it would be $100 per painter. So $200.
And they'll paint whoever shows
So
up.
just paint whoever's face shows up.
Yep.
So when Dan wants to go get his face painted.
He doesn't even have to pull out any money.
Do we know what they are charging? Like, if I, if I send my kid to get it. well, my kid-
$5, $10, or $15, depending on the complexity of the face paint.
$5, $15, $50, we have to.
We would pay a $50
And
deposit.
then, right,
If we decide that we want the people to do it for free,
then
Then
we'll
it-
pay-
we
then we would pay
decide.
$200. I think it would be more beneficial to them if we pay the $50 deposit and they go that route of whoever shows up, shows up.
Cause kids are gonna want their faces painted
Yes.
and
Yeah.
parents are gonna pay the money.
yep.
So they have flexibility for timing that day. They will paint anywhere between 2 hours and 10 hours, however long we want them to be there, they will be there.
That's a lot of painting.
Well, they
It's
should
a lot of
stay for
painting.
the concert.
They should.
Because then once you.
All get drunk and get our faces painted.
When Dave goes to get his
Oh,
cheese
Lord.
curds, he might stumble by the face.
Have to make sure that we
That's
change
weird.
it to just faces and not like chest painting.
I would say there's gonna be a lot of kiss impersonators there, I think, yeah.
Right.
No.
Focus in again.
One
We're
of the
losing it.
things that they said, that she really made a point of driving home is that they will not leave if there's a kid standing in line and they want a face painted in that. Time is up. So
Oh,
if
that's
we
good.
decide we want them to be there from noon to 5 and it's 5 or 5 to 5 and they've got 3 kids, they're just gonna stay and paint the rest of the kids. They don't want a kid to walk away disappointed because they were in line and time was up. Whatever. So, they're super flexible and she seemed really good about that. So that's that option. There is another option called snazzy events. These are a little bit snazzier.
I like snazzy.
They're also a little bit pricier.
Which master?
They are snazzier. So we could do, they have multiple services. The one that I thought, and we could do a mixture of everything. They've got face painting, they have glitter tattoo services.
It's like that. Even bigger kids like.
Kids
Kids
and
like it, but parents maybe not so much.
Kids and strippers like that.
Kind of like,
No,
They have a face painter and balloon twister
Yeah.
bundle. They have a face painter and glitter tattoo bundle. Um, They have a face painter and roaming photo booth bundle. They have festival glitter. They have a makeup session.
no one likes glitter.
I mean, I don't.
Well,
I don't either.
Some people like glitter, but
Some people like glitter.
it's-
If Nikki's not here, she'd be like, what?
So they,
I get annoyed when the people send the Christmas cards with glitter and then you take it and it all falls over. the-
Yeah, you wanna tell them to have them back in your house, right? Why not?
Can you,
for
can
like the
do,
next 6 months.
right,
So their prices are a little bit more expensive. They range from $250 up to $1,500, depending on what we ask them to do.
Yeah,
It's
that's
something
what
that
the glitter
I say let's support the local.
yeah, let's do the Grafton team and do $50 and let the people pay unless you think we're gonna get backlash that kids have to pay to get their faces.
Or we pay for the first so many.
Well, then some.
I mean, anytime.
And some are gonna be, I got mine for free, well, why did you?
Yeah.
pay?
And. Well, I mean, you're right, they're likely to make more money
They're like-
if we
Yeah.
have the kids pay or the parents.
I mean, if they have 20 kids that show up and get a $10 face paint, they'll have paid for their, if we would have paid for it, so I'm certain there would be more than 10 kids show up to get their face.
Especially if they were real country.
Hey Jamie, do you have fun color pens?
Wait, what?
Do you have fun color pens with you today?
Maybe.
Like a color pen?
What if I know that, but it's awesome.
This is okay.
Jamie doesn't have that, I think you feel lost.
I do. it's just because I pull out stickers and I put my name. This one touches me.
I'm still about, yeah.
So I put the canvas.
Thank you.
Okay, and then next I want to talk about the Bubble Lady, because I'd like to get that situated as well and get that locked in, so it's. You have to do one.
I have a mini golf update as
Oh, yeah. Yay. Okay, Natalie, take it away on our Bubble Lady.
So we have the bubble lady. She is $3.50 an hour. So we have to decide how much we would want.
What does she
Or-
do?
She does bubbles and music, and there's bubbles, and then she does like the big bubbles, and she's kind of a circus performer is the best way to describe her. She can do like the interactive where she shows the kids how to make the giant bubbles, and she'll have like buckets of those where they get to do them with her.
That seems like a lot of money.
But that's what, yeah, either you want her or you don't want her.
I mean, she's cool, but I don't know, she was expensive.
Yeah, I wonder if we can go to Walmart and get those like dollar bubbles. So the kids go nuts.
I have a bubble machine.
I mean, you could set up a bubble machine.
You could.
Yeah, $300 or $350 for an hour, and an hour goes quick.
Especially if there's no kids there, but
Yeah, so if it's slow, I don't think spending $350 on that is wise. That's the dumb thing.
and some, but cats and whatever. But what do you call it? Although they haven't updated the page since 2015, so I don't know if that's
I'll figure it out.
all I got.
That's okay. All right, mini golf.
So the Double Eagle Mobile Mini Golf is available on the 28th. And it is $500, $495 delivery and setup. I asked them for 4 to 5 hours. They have 9 holes of disc golf, and they also have plastic axe targets if we're looking for more activities. If we want kids throwing axes around, plastic,
But still throwing axes.
still could hurt.
There was an inflatable axe throwing thing that I was trying to find somebody local that had one. But it's sad.
If you bring your own axes, can you use real ones?
No. So I don't know, that's the cheapest we found. The last person I talked to, the Event Links, was $650 for 9 holes, plus they were gonna charge us mileage.
So $495 for delivery and setup, and then $500 for the day, or for 5 hours.
5.
It's just 495.
It's $495 for all of it,
Oh,
Includes delivery.
delivery and setup
For 4 to 5 hours.
for 4 to 5 hours. We'll clarify with them what that means. So I don't know if you want me to go ahead and commit if we want to do this or not. This is the cheapest I found, because there was the other one that was like 900 or something.
Yeah.
that We just went for.
Is it something where we feel we can charge people to use it then, or is it gonna be like free will?
I think we would have to have somebody there.
I was gonna say, my concern is that all of this stuff, if it is not monitored, all of this stuff is gonna disappear. We're gonna come to the end of the day and there's not gonna be any clubs or balls or. Right, so. I don't know if we want to,
This one might be one we want to think through a little bit before making a decision and start pulling all the risks together.
I mean, if they're like the metal. You know, who knows what. Kids are gonna do.
Yeah.
They start fighting, you know, sword fighting or,
Do we know how much space that takes up?
no.
Cause I'm thinking like, have we really looked at like layout? Right,
Well-
like saying like, oh, the tent's gonna go in the same place as last year, bounce house is in the same place, but then if we start adding in more.
I mean, I think there's that whole open space between the tent and, yeah,
So it doesn't take much, so I just Googled but Facebook their stuff.
It looks like they just did an event on St. Patrick's Day in downtown Milwaukee in a gym. They had an 18-hole golf course and it's like really spread out. Right, and so actually it's kind of neat, so they put together a flyer of like, hey, this is all for donation, you know what I mean, and it's like $5 per player. And you know, $2 replays or whatever, and they did donations to benefit
oh,
whatever club they're doing, so it sounds like they may be even open to things like that, it'd be kind of cool. So,
but
And
they're
they don't
not
s-
running.
They don't staff it, right?
I
I don't
don't
know.
believe so. Well, I can ask them.
yeah, I'm not sure
I can ask.
how that works.
To me, if you're not gonna have somebody manning it, I think it gets,
You have to have something.
You have to have somebody there to
Multiple,
keep an eye on
right,
it.
because you probably have to have at least
at least two.
three, well, I would say three, one every 3 holes that you're. Like, I don't know how many kids can go off at a time.
You just need for sure, you have to have somebody at the front to handle.
I mean, I can ask some more
someone at the
questions
end
about
to-
it.
Those
Yeah.
are very well, it's mine. I think it's my son doing it.
Somebody.
Well, or, you know, my son's friends are gonna try to hit the ball as hard as they can and it's gonna
Yeah,
hit somebody, you know. Hit somebody in the head 3 holes, you know.
yeah.
Not that he's not a well. Especially after he's had his Chick-fil-A.
4 times.
Give them a Chick-fil-A,
Go
it'll
for
be
it.
fine, everybody will be fine.
It just, I think there's going to be,
I think there's some risks with it for sure.
and there's going to be, we're gonna have people,
Right,
probably. But you're gonna have people committed to working it. We're gonna have to have volunteers for 4 hours.
Yeah.
There could be crying.
Maybe that's an opportunity for.
Could be some black eyes.
I call them and ask them, be like, hey, have you ever done this at an event like this type thing? Do you think this is the right thing? Is anybody there to staff it? And what happens if we theoretically lose a putter or 2 in the pond? You know, like.
We come back and there's no, but yeah, okay, I can.
I mean, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I would ask some questions, see what they've done in the past. How it's worked in the past.
And he might just be like, you know what, sorry, it was booked for that day. And then you go, okay, fair
This isn't a
enough.
good idea.
Yeah.
He told me they're not books.
Right, but if you start asking questions
Yeah.
like that,
Maybe suddenly.
Right, yeah.
So I can do some more research, but. Like I said, we would have to have some sort of commitment to
Volunteers.
where we're gonna supervise this and.
Are we gonna be like high school volunteers again? Or?
I mean, it's always
High school kids are just as immature as a little
hard
kid.
to, it's hard to commit. That's where I would almost, once you get some answers back from him, I would almost reach out to certain clubs
Mm.
and say, okay, soccer club, here's an opportunity for you.
Long and right.
You
Like-
can, I know
like
they were
just-
talking about,
Like, just like, maybe see if they're willing to put potentially volunteer. for that volunteers.
you know, I was even thinking like 4-H and, you know, some of these.
This would probably qualify for National Honor Society volunteer hours too,
Yeah.
so. Reach out to Miss Muck at the school because she's in charge of NHS and she might be able to get some more responsible kids to come down for it.
I will get some more information from the golf guy first.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. I made some progress today.
Good. You did your homework.
Hope I wasn't supposed to do anything.
Did I send you anything that you wanted to do? Cause I sent a list.
That's why I'd be like, great, Dan, what's your update on this? And I'm totally gonna make something up.
Okay. TB, any TB, NC, FOF, TB, FOF, all of us. Okay, so no, you didn't have anything to do. So.
That's why I'm doing food trucks still now.
That's good, get on the list
Hey,
now.
you talked to the Bubble lady, rates for face painting. I did talk to Nikki. She's going to reach out to St. John's here within the next week or two and try and see if they're interested in doing anything. We had originally talked about them for like a craft area like they did that one year. And also possibly food, because they had shown some interest in that as well. So she'll get some information from them. I touched base with DJ Roundy. We got the cost confirmed for the bounce house.
How much is the bounce
Brown.
house total?
Right. $8,652.25.
That's-
I'm just kidding. That's
Make
not,
that
I'm
number.
sorry.
I was like, wow.
So that's an expensive box house.
Maybe we should get the bubble lady. Get the bubble lady, we got that kind of.
It's impressive that I knew that off the top of my head, isn't it?
What's that?
Be next year. I would talk to Nikki first. Chris, do you happen to have that?
No, and I was looking back at my emails because I have a 0 there next to that too. I don't think we've gotten a quote for that, do we? I have the
did.
tent, I have the dunk tank, everything else.
I sent it.
Okay.
All right, while I'm looking for that again, one of the other things that we talked about was coming up with a list of 5 craft vendors that you guys loved from last year. Ish, well, whatever you got, and do we want to invite them back?
Right, so I went through the list just like from memory and what we had. And the 3D printer ladies would be a good one to have. They usually do 2 booths. So they would take up 2 spots from wherever we would set that up. I haven't reached out to see if they're available, just because I wanted to like share all of this with you. But they sell, for those of you that are not familiar with them, they sell a wide range of 3D printed like toys and fidgets. And they have like the bargain bins too, where they're selling stuff for like $1 a piece, and they make a ton of like our stuff. The other one, another one that I have is Melissa and her sourdough. She sold out quick. She did sell out very quick last year, so if she were to do it again, she would be interested. I don't know how she scales that up, but I know she's also started making other types of sourdough products, so maybe that would. Yeah, that'd be one of the bigger guys.
That's
That's 2. I have the Ozaki Youth Dance Team listed. Now, they had to leave early last year, but they were really popular because they had a big sale and they were selling lemonade, and with how hot it was, they were very popular. So they may be another one that we want to reach out to, especially given how it is.
Right.
And then I had a couple of other ones that I don't really know how we feel, but everybody likes crocheted stuffies. So I don't know if we want to reach out to one of the bigger vendors that we had, or see if somebody more local might, because I know there's a few local, like youth crafters that do that.
I did like, as far as like the youth crafters, they have like the girl who makes the soaps, those goat's milk soap,
Yeah,
But the
Ashley's daughter.
lady?
That's all I can think of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Mine is the down
she does good work.
It is, it's very, I buy gifts all the time.
$1,019.77. $1,019.77.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Does not include the $50 down payment that was paid.
So
with
it's
the
$50.
$50, you have to add.
I have to add the 50 to it?
Yes.
Just because I'm trying to keep track of that for.
No, appreciate
I
that.
didn't get. As for bringing in donations, so crochet stuffies are another idea. There is Loveland's Woodworking and General Store. They had like little crafty kits, ornaments, wood carving things that are smaller. There's a woman who makes like headbands and pillows and things that's right down on Milwaukee Street. She was at the 150th, but she backed out of the fall festival. So she wasn't unable to participate in that. If we wanted to do like a collection of like younger crafters, instead of it just being like saying like, oh, these specific people, having like a group of them just to see if they would want to do it. Here's Jones Treasures, which were sun catchers, which were popular at the fall festival. And then there was a honey person, or sorry, she doesn't sell honey.
Her name's
It's a part of her Facebook page, but she sells, oh no, that is honey. That is honey. And then the other one is somebody who sold reworked clothing items, but the last two were at Fall Fest. I don't know what they did in sales. Joan was at Fall Fest as well. But like looking at the list, I was also trying to think of people that, the vendors that I know were popular when we had the event too, which was, I mean, we had people at all of the booths, but a lot of them didn't seem to have a lot of foot traffic. And once everything died, I think it was just the overall size of what we had for the day.
There's a maple syrup kit at that. Double event at the school.
So I don't know, I mean, if we put in like 4 or 5 vendors. But I don't wanna open it up to like everybody, because that becomes a nightmare of like planning, and that's, like, I have somebody who's still asking to participate again. And it was not the most enjoyable experience working with them.
No, if you did 5, just simply tell them no.
I'm just like, they're like, just keep us in mind for future things. I'm like, okay, we'll do. Like, I'll remember.
I remember you. I will not forget you.
So
So
I
you're
don't
thinking 5 vendors? Kind of ish, 5-ish?
I mean, if we're trying to do a round number, I would say 5. I mean, we had, I think in the end, we ended up with like 17 or 18 last year that were in attendance, so. I mean, I don't think we have a need. I know a lot of the vendor fairs have a very diverse collection of items. But it's also fun before the 4th, it's summer. Like, I don't, like, the makeup people didn't sell a lot of stuff, right? Like, who's really going and buying Mary Kay and
Yeah.
Labrie
No, I
stuff
think-
when they go to the
Maybe keep it kind of more like farmers market.
I was just gonna
people.
say, what if we reach out to a couple of the local farms?
But sourdough, yes.
Yeah, sourdough, I
There's
think.
that one in Lavaca that does the flower arrangements.
Oh.
Really, that's it. You go.
That would be. Cause that would give people their farmers market.
Well, if you keep it like some of the, like the girl with the soap,
Keep
like the
soaps,
local,
They're local.
and
and
if they're kids, I
younger.
think people. Suckers for kids.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, I bought so much stuff with that. With at the kid vendor fair, they had kids that were selling like, they were doing eggs and cookies. And they were pretty eggs. They were the pastel.
Selling eggs. You can't kill
I think they would do well.
I mean,
There
regular
was somebody
eggs,
selling
regular
eggs and they were
eggs.
doing half a dozen eggs and I'm pretty sure they sold out within the first hour.
Is that the same kid selling firewood?
No,
No, that was
but
another.
I think he was selling eggs too.
Oh. Yeah, I bought a cookie from the girls and I bought the half dozen eggs. I was so excited when oh, they're so pretty.
Do we want to offer this year?
I don't know.
Do we, if we
There's
do offer it,
benefits
do we
to
charge?
not offer it in some respects, because it frees up space for food trucks. You know, if you end up with like an overlap in food trucks, having that space is really beneficial. For sure. Especially when we start thinking about logistics and
Getting them in and out.
getting them in and out with the bags tournament going on across the street.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff that could get really impacted. That was, you know. I don't know, and like. You might wanna, if we would do it, I would say we might consider putting the vendor somewhere else, just because some of the feedback from like last year's event was we felt like we weren't a part of what was happening, and I'm like, we're kind of limited with space and where we can really put you,
I
so
mean,
you have access, right?
In all
Because-
reality, if we're. Okay, so if we put them in the grass in the field.
Mhm.
I would think that they would have to be. So if we have. I'm looking at the board because I like to go, so whiteboard was gonna be my. Not to scale, not to right size, this is only to get my point across. So here we've got the field, this is the fire department, right? We got baseball diamond here, here, we've got the creek that crosses over here. Our tent is gonna go here, if we choose to do it again. We have that driveway over here that comes in on the backside
Right.
of CCS.
And we don't have access to them there.
We do own that, which is nice.
Did you buy
Which
that?
is, I think, where you had people
We have people parking. in the
parking back
lot.
that way. I had people coming in for,
With River Edge, you have-
River Edge came in through there and then we didn't buy them.
We didn't buy that one.
So we could have them come in over here and maybe it's something that we have them set up over here by the baseball diamond.
I think so.
How long are their tents up?
I mean, last year we had them, it was supposed to run from like, what, 1 to 4 or something, or 12 to 4. They basically were there before and set up by 11:30. And then
They
as
stayed
soon as
till
the
4.
parade was done, a lot of them did stay the entire time.
I was gonna say, could you put them under the big tent? If they're
No,
only there
it's
for
too
part of the
loud.
afternoon?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really loud under there.
Okay.
Well, unless
Or-
they're there for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what time is the music?
That does seem kind of way off to the side though, doesn't it?
Well, last year they were over here.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have thought over on the road would be more.
Well,
If
there's
they have those
access,
events.
there's access issues with the road, because we have to keep it accessible for the fire department, but also for the auto shop right there.
Right.
So I have zero issue of putting them in the park. It would be the logistics of where we go with them. So if we've got,
They might get hit by a golf ball.
they might be.
Yeah.
Be okay with that.
Maybe that's
So-
how we keep the golf balls from going everywhere.
Maybe half the kids are gonna wanna try to pick people.
So we can be, and leave, and I think it would be fine.
I think we're gonna lose a ball. I mean, you really are gonna have to
I think we just,
monitor. it.
maybe they have
I'll talk to him. I'll see
great
what he
ideas.
says.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
All right, I'll just give him.
He's got
Or you
bouncers
put
that he
up
sends.
like snow fencing or something.
Adult
So that-
supervision required.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay, so we've got the tent here. We could put craft here, not saying that's what we do. We have bounce houses over here, whatever. We have mini golf here. We could, if we need to, for the craft people to get in and out easier. I mean, we could swap them, whatever, but we could also have like a drive lane near the creek so that they can get in and out and just make sure everybody stays on the opposite side. So if they have to leave, we make sure they have an escort, whatever the case is, or we put the bounce houses over this way.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, is why did we put bonfires here last year? Was it because people,
Because they were the year before, we
they
had
were
them
in the
like on the
woods.
back side of the tent and it got weird and creepy.
well, wasn't that mostly because of the disc golf, or not disc golf?
Bags turn.
bags tournament there,
Yeah,
that they were like, why aren't people running in and out?
yeah.
Like if we bring the bounce houses up on the side, right? Or like, I don't know, I was thinking, cause we have the electric there, right?
Yeah, you could, I don't know if we can, I think we still have to run off the generator, but you could do the bounce houses here. I won't do them.
You just don't want them behind the tent.
Leave it.
You could do craft over here. You know, and swap them, because they don't need electricity, then it's easy in, easy out.
Well, it's fire,
But-
too, but they're still close to stuff.
Well, yeah, if we have, we do have mini golf and stuff, and then.
Or maybe mini golf goes back in that corner if there's adult supervision, right? Maybe they go in that back corner, so then it's less people getting yelled with golf balls as they're drinking a beer. Maybe, and the
Now
crowd
it's just
comes,
getting, golf balls or and kickball.
I mean, that's.
I'm gonna say the baseball diamond's open though, cause I mean, I know
The baseball diamond is open,
The
and I
kids'
don't wanna put things there
Yeah.
unless we wanted to prohibit kickball.
well, that just seems to kind of just happen, and it's kind of cool that that those kids just kind of,
Get together and
yeah,
everybody.
I think it's good. I'd rather, well, maybe have the kickball.
You know, they've had it for the last couple of years and I don't think it's been bad. I mean, we've maybe had 1 or 2 stray balls. Make it that far, but it's not very, the bigger problem is playing when it gets dark and there's no
Well, that's what I
lights
was
for
gonna
them to
say.
see.
I mean, I know we had talked about lighting, but again, I don't know if fire departments or anybody's gotten back to us about that, about renting lights or something. So we should really kind of figure that out.
But they're technically village owned bright lights, right?
What are we gonna say now?
We'll put them where we want.
No, no, we'll be better than that.
Well, that was it.
Yeah.
Everyone get your phones on, and turn the flash.
Very good, Father.
Or I can be.
Okay, anything else,
I need stage dimensions.
No, where's the stage going on that map?
in your
Mom's
big tent.
house.
Oh, that's a long drive, man, but you can put it there, she got lots of land.
24 by 16,
Any other special,
yes.
what else?
It needs to be.
Do I need to get the extender so it's
Yeah.
up higher?
Cause you forward.
Can you just send it to me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It has to be, I think, like 12 inches off
Yeah.
the ground.
Level 12.
Where'd it go? Music series.
Just
Oh,
12?
here. You know why? Because it still shows up as.
Yeah,
supposed to
it
be
says
as
at
like-
least 12 inches.
I can't remember what they said they could extend you, but I thought it was like,
Quite a bit more.
yeah.
And
Do we
then-
want to go quite a bit more, or do we just want to go with 12?
No, I think I would do 12 to 24 inches, I mean, to be long.
Sure.
This last year was a little
Yeah, and
24 inches off?
squishy, yeah.
what does it say? It says. Must be level front to back, side to side, minimum height above any portion of the stage must not be less than 12.
Inches.
Inches.
No, the height above the stage.
So from the
Oh,
stage to the top
yeah,
of the
It
okay.
tent.
has to be a minimum.
They are gonna do.
No, they have a lot of speakers and a lot of lights.
I assume that's less than, that will be 12 feet?
Yeah, I'm pretty
I don't
sure
know how
the
high our
tent
tent
is
is.
much higher than that.
And then just when they set it up, no less than 6 feet of open space all the way around the stage to allow for setup of lighting.
For 24 plus 12 plus 12, 48. Our tent is only 40, isn't it? Yeah, 40 by 100.
Well, perfect, right?
No, we're 8 feet short.
What do they want? They want 20 by 24 wide, they need 6 on each side?
Oh, wait, 6 on each side. I'm doing
Yeah.
12 on each side.
6 feet of open space all the way around the stage.
Yeah, so 12 plus
So
24.
24 plus
Yeah.
12 is 36, so we're good. So we just gotta make sure that the stage is at least 6 feet from the back of the tent. Okay, and then it has to be level. Well, what if it's rainy and the stage goes? Yeah.
It was low when we put it up.
It was fine last year before Aaron and I got on. It was fine.
I don't have the level, I'm not gonna level it. All right. So 24 by 16, 24 inches off the ground. I'll make sure the tent is. So the tent has to be 14 feet high. At that point. We need the, didn't they like, did they just bring a power strip or something? I think they did something with electric.
We had lights, we had lights.
Yeah, there was lights in it, and then in the
Signs.
back, far left corner, they had a cord that all the lights were plugged into, yeah. But
We
the cords were-
use the lights, right?
Yeah.
We use the light of our first.
Did we get lights this week? I better check. Okay,
We're gonna take out that flight.
all right.
But that-
If you could
Just
just.
someone gets
see
to
the
say what you got.
percentage.
Sitting too long.
Soccer accident.
My son was into a soccer game and their team, where they were supposed to play didn't show up, so then it turned into a parents versus kids game.
Oh, there you go.
Keeping the shin like 2 or 3 times.
How many times on purpose?
That's pretty bad. Parents are dead.
All right,
Anything else we can reorder or?
Yeah.
We want to talk about fundraising dollars real quick. So I asked Chris to put together a list of all the fundraising people that we've sent inquiries out to. Specifically, I'm wanting to just make sure we talked water vendors, we talked ice vendors, you know, and went through our specific requests. And then I want to talk about, if we've received any more donations in and kind of where we stand with that, so. Okay, so go ahead, Chris.
Okay, I got a compilation here, and then Lauren, if I'm missing anything, you can let me know as well. So for start with the mud run. So the important thing to know about the mud run is that this is really a pure profit making event for us, because the registration fees cover all of our expenses. So any sponsorship that we get on top of that really just can spill over to help us with other events. So on that note, the cost per kid, just so everybody has it in their minds, about $25 per kid that signs up. That covers their food, the t-shirt, the medal, all that good stuff. And the ticket price to sign up as of right now is $30. So we're guaranteed at least $5 around there of income per racer that signs up. So in addition to that, we have the following sponsors: Quantum Performance, Roulette Beck and Neck, Andrew J, Corsa Technic, Strand, and one that I don't know if I told you, Lauren, Collins State Bank, we said was $250 as well.
So
The
what's
rest,
the
the
total?
rest of those were at $500 each.
Oh, it's small.
So how?
Yeah.
That was 5?
500. But to pause there, because, so in order for our music series to make or break even, we need at least 4 sponsors at $500 each. And so Lauren and I were just talking about this other day, that the 4 that really didn't specify a specific event that they wanted to be part of. So that's Burlette, Andrew J, Corsa Technic, and Strand, that gave us the 500. Those 4 can in a sense be our sponsors for the music series. I've reached out to all of them. They're like, sure, whatever, we're giving you money for events, so they're fine with that. So the way that would work is their logos would still appear on the Mud Run stuff, because obviously they're donating. But then they would be the primary sponsors for the music series when we get it there. So if you move that money to the music series and not part of the Mud Run, then as of right now, we have $750 of donations on top of the $5 per racer revenue at the beginning. So that's just for the Mud Run. So that's all set there, and really the more donors that we get for that, the better it's going to be. Switching to the music event, we have the 4 that I just talked about, which those do cover our expenses for each of the bands that we have booked. And then for Donny Mobile gave us a donation for $250 specifically for the music in the park. So this is great to see money for drinks. I was thinking for that. And then in addition, Jolly Good Soda is donating 7 cases of soda. So
Exciting.
I don't know where else we use it. I would think maybe it's just part of what you saw at the Moving
Or
on,
even see where we're at. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Um, If we get it at the beginning for the music series, whatever we have after that second one, maybe we sell whatever's left over at Fun for the Fourth. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
just throwing it
No,
out,
I get
like,
it.
I'd
Yeah.
rather have it sold
Yeah.
if they're donating.
You don't
it,
want to
know?
be sitting on stuff for months.
No.
yeah, so mobile was great last year, and Lauren, you and I can talk about that too. They're great at using their cooler, and so every time we would deplenish, we would replenish, we'd go back there, so that worked out really nice.
So what are we ahead then on music series?
Music series, we were just
Or broke
$50
even?
ahead,
50.
55.
Okay.
Which again, that doesn't count revenue that you'd be getting from drinks like that, so
Yeah.
that's nice.
Okay.
Then moving on to the movie night, if we do that, we got one donation and from both dental, it's $100, right, Lauren?
Yep.
I thought that's an easy one because we normally don't ask for sponsors if they want to be our movie night sponsor. You know,
If we do a movie
represent.
night.
That's easy enough. And then finally, Fun Before the Fourth. We have Peterson Products, who did 1,000, Course of Technic again, of 950. And then the one I'm really excited to tell you about tonight, which I will let the secret out to some of you. I spoke with the Steffens today, and they confirmed that they would like to be the sponsor for the band for Rebel Grace, so they're covering $6,000. It's awesome. So,
I mean, just.
yeah, so
That's a family, like,
huge thank you to the family.
Yeah,
wow.
Kim and Joan live behind me. Hal lives
Yep.
a couple doors down, and I think Kyle lives up in your neighborhood. And
So they
then
just all
Seth-
together are coming up. to
Yeah,
meetings?
they're just gonna get a joint effort.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Well, then we can drive.
The other big,
Right. And you were worried.
so Tiffany mentioned the list, well, you know, so this is my list of all my scribbles of everything that I've been sending out to. The big fish to note are Nancy Insurance, and a more serious conversation with them about doing a bigger amount. And then the Bucks, I don't know if you know, but the Bucks donate to events like this. So I had a good conversation with their PR person today, possibly doing a good amount of money too, so. We're set well for where we're at. I was doing the math as you guys were adding things, so that puts us at about 8,000 total to be received. And right now expenses are about 24,000. So we got about a 16K gap to cover.
Do we want to approach the Lions again this year and see if they want to do something?
I think we talked about it in the past, but I think somebody else is gonna maybe reach out.
Dan and I usually end up going and talking.
Doing a
about that.
presentation or whatever, yeah.
Okay.
Between that and then I mean, again, I totally understand if we're not, but I don't know if PWSB is interested in being a,
Yeah, I did talk to them. They said with the splash pad, that's gonna be their.
I figured.
I don't know, I gave Chris a very big laundry list of people,
You can,
to reach out to for sponsors.
Pig is still double checking with the water and ice. We're doing that. Culver's doing good bad stuff.
Yeah, Gateway Sports Academy, may be a good one for goodie stuff
Yeah.
for,
I'm gonna ask after that.
Clear Credit Union, Key Insurance.
Yeah.
Pat Zulsdorf, his new business, his new insurance company.
So I said, I did send out to them, Kohler, said no. Like that, yeah.
Really? I'm bummed.
That's what we get next year. No, I mean, we're sitting pretty well for being here in March, so. I mean, pretty much have all of our events covered except for Portland. That's what
Which I think we kind of anticipated,
Yeah.
but
and really any additional revenues from any of those other events can help to support this.
nice. Go team, so we're doing okay.
Yeah.
I'm not as panicked as I have been, so we're good.
Maybe we can get the bubble lady after all.
Might be.
Well, okay.
We'll need another family to donate another
Right.
$6,000 and then we can figure out.
Now we can get the bubble lady and the glitter tattoos.
Glitter tattoos, Dan, I'm telling you. Just because you had a bad experience, doesn't mean you should. write
That's not a bad experience, I just, it's very skeptical.
You are very.
Okay, all right, so next meeting, what do we want to cover next meeting? Anybody have any specifics? We'll obviously get back on food. We'll get the roundup for food.
Yeah. food.
Volunteers. We touched a little bit on that tonight, but maybe we can start putting together a list of volunteer groups we want to reach out to and see if we can get some help and start developing a list of what volunteers we think we're gonna need as we're getting closer to wrapping this baby up. Parade. Natalie, if you could get back to me before the next meeting. What else do we need to talk about?
Do you wanna do a craft fair?
How do we feel about it?
I don't think 5 is enough to make it worth doing, and if it's gonna be problematic to logistically, I guess I would say.
I mean, at some point, we, like, friends are potentially gonna have another thing that would be able to host something like that, so.
Well, we are gonna do, well, I don't know if that was for this event, but we're doing the crowd fair. You told me that.
No, that was Nicole that organized that, but yeah, we're supposed to be doing that on the 31st of May.
That was not big.
Which was apparently like food or famine to get paid. So
Yeah.
we got the 31st of May for the Brown Friday.
Which is probably fine.
I thought it was Memorial Day, thankfully it's not.
Yeah.
so you-
I was like, shit, I'm not here.
It was like, what is that Memorial Day? Cause graduation is like, completion is like right after that.
So we're doing that, so somebody wants to help with that.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah, you're
I
in
think
charge
we'll
of
end-
making the food. That's what Nicole says.
Great.
We're gonna end up with an abundance of volunteers. We're doing a broad Friday
Yeah.
for fundraising for all of our events. Piggly Wiggly on May
So you need
31st.
someone to go help with
It's
So
what
the thing
we're
is, we want to
volunteers.
Jason for
Yeah,
that.
it's like 3 or 4 hours.
I saw it like briefly and then.
I think what we need to do is we need to coordinate.
Organize.
I think we did there, it's like 2 different.
Like, do they have
versions.
Nesco's there or do we need to bring on Walmart?
So Nicole has a lot of those details, so I'm not gonna speak to
Okay.
that, but, I think what we need to do is we need to coordinate who can be there before we can really like get into that, cause we don't need to have like
30
25 people that are sitting around doing
Right.
nothing when we're there all day, right? So we gotta figure out what the happy balance is and like what they recommend for staff.
Like Jason will grill. But how many people do you grilling?
Right,
Yep,
these, I mean, the main thing was getting a date because
For sure.
the people line up at PIG to sign up for it the day that you were able to start registering. Like, I think Nicole got the last date that was still open,
It makes me feel like that's probably a pretty good draw, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
so I mean. There's a lot of details, I know I saw it too, and I looked at some of them, but not all of it, so. Maybe next time she will be able to make it and share her wisdom on
Yeah.
Brown Friday.
We can get a plan together.
Yep. Okay,
When are we meeting next? Are we gonna stick with?
do we start need to tag it up a little bit sooner?
Right,
Maybe like the week of the 7th?
yeah,
Wednesday, do we want to keep Wednesdays? Does it work for everybody?
Yeah.
So Wednesday the 9th?
So Wednesday the 9th, this and that, this space, they won't be available. That's town board and their board review. Open book. And my birthday.
I'm gonna say that's her birthday. 5K concert is nothing, there is, except for me, but that's on Thursday, and,
Yeah. It's the
oh, that concert.
elementary
Yeah,
school
so
up to 3rd grade, I think, because I got it that night.
Anybody have anything going on Tuesday, the 8th?
Yes.
It's an election.
No, it's not.
No, that's
Yeah,
first.
first.
Sorry, my brain.
Just kidding.
Oh, never mind. You guys don't, I'll talk to you.
I can do the 8th.
Huh?
I said I can do the 8th. if
I could do
everybody
the
can.
7th.
Monday?
Well, that's what I was gonna say, we'd have to cut it, short, because I know there's nothing submitted yet, but St. John's going to submit for the new sign, you know about that? So it'd have to be like 6 or 6 to 7 or something like that, or 7:15. 15. 7:30. 7:30. I'll make, it'll be a short plan.
I would say you can leave the meeting for 5 minutes and then.
Yeah, especially. if we
All
get-
right, what day are we doing?
Monday, the 7th?
All right, at
At what time?
7:15.
You just rock it, just go right through. What the hell is he talking about?
Let's just pick.
We're trying.
7:15 or 7:30?
Or 7 o'clock, and I can come in 5 minutes later. Doesn't matter.
Why don't we do it at 7?
You'll start meeting later.
Yeah, we'll be in the
little room.
little room.
And you can come on that too.
All right.
Can't do banana, gotta do flamingo. Colors. Have to color code. the
Most
calendar.
people say yellow and pink, Tiffany, but flamingo.
What about peacock? Cause I have peacock as a color on mine.
Oh,
That's a good one.
when you guys, that was cool.
If you were cool like us.
You know what? I've had a charging port that looks
Okay.
like this forever.
I also have basil and blueberry and lavender.
Blueberry is the one
There
that
you
I use
go.
for me.
And just a quick, reminder to everybody, so the weight of responsibility will lift at least your 2 shoulders effective midnight, April 14th, that Monday. No longer be village trustees or president. Pete, I know you discussed creating a separate event planning group when you wave your magic presidential wand. So when you do that, I know that we'll need an official list of those members who are part of that committee. So again, reach out to us or Tiffany, if you'd like to be an official member of that committee, so that when he waves his hand, you can codify that you are a member.
I'm stuck forever now.
Do we have to do, like, we can just have a chairperson and like minutes and all of that jazz.
We'll talk about that. This will be a separate meeting, not necessarily.
Yeah. Okay, all right, next meeting, April 7th at 7 PM. We will talk food trucks, volunteers, parades, and brat fry. At that point, I think I will start putting together the day of plan. Right, if you can get a hold of the
Yeah, I'll do the 10th.
golf guy.
Oh, the golf guy too. And the stage. I'm gonna be real busy.
Anybody else want to take anything off their shoulders?
No, I'm good.
For sure.
Yeah, it's fine. The 10 people are easy to work with.
When you get the pricing for
Stage.
the stage and for the, I know you've got the pricing for the tent already, but can you, like, can I give you the Friends of Fredonia email address so that you can send it to me?
Because I think they send the bill directly to the village.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have it go to Friends of Fredonia.
Because
so
Yeah.
we're,
do that
like,
later.
we're collecting all the donations and then it's one less paper
Sure.
step work.
Do you want me to ask them to send it to you right away, or, I mean, I don't know that. Because they don't have a relationship with you, I don't know that they're not gonna expect something to be paid. I can ask, I just don't know if you're a new,
Being a new customer. yeah.
because when they thought it was me, they wanted money up front, and I'm like, no,
I mean,
I don't do that.
what if they put it, you know, address it to the Village of Fredonia, or like,
I can,
they
ask.
put it to Friends of Fredonia care of Village or whatever, because
Yeah.
it,
I mean, otherwise they can just mail it to you and you can put it in their mailbox.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah. I'll see, I don't know if it's worth causing a lot of confusion.
Yeah,
not a,
yeah.
we're just trying to streamline that stuff as much as possible, because it gets,
Yeah, if you just wanna send me the, whatever you're gonna send me.
I was gonna write it down, give it to you.
Or you can
I
just,
didn't create this email address. So,
Or you-
sorry, it's so long.
The other thing I'd like to start talking about too, pretty quick here is advertising. And get that moving and get that rolling. I'd really like to get Rebel Grace's name out there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And start generating some buzz, so.
Well, once
Okay.
that contract is signed, they should start advertising with us.
I think
That's
got us on their calendar, so.
Okay.
That's nice of them.
Okay, I don't have any correspondence. We talked about our future items for next meeting. Otherwise I will be looking for a motion to adjourn. Yeah,
And we can't make motions,
correct.
so. That's fine.
I have a motion. I'm looking for a second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried at 8:48.
Oh.